Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Drake Michigan podcast. And we have got an absolute stunning and cracker coming up for you. But before we get into it, without further ado, let's just have a quick shout out to our sponsors who allow us to make all this possible for you. We have Atlantis Property Developments Limited, your one-stop contractor for all your development needs. From refurbishments, renovations, extensions and new builds. So if you're in the market for a new apartment block, a luxury home, a wraparound kitchen extension and everything in between, then check them out at www.atlantisproperty.uk. We have Apollo Windows and Doors, a Fencer registered windows and door installation company. They do everything from the initial survey to the full and final installation and clean. Check these guys out at apollo-windows.co.uk. We have Estimate My Plans. Get a quick, detailed and professional estimate based on all of your building plans. Estimate My Plans carry out work for private clients, building companies, property developments, architects and local councils. So if you want a detailed estimate based on your current plans, check these guys out at estimatemyplans.co.uk. We have the most amazing and intriguing guest today. A man who not only understands the everyday power of words, but he understands the power of law. Everyday law, maritime law, and importantly, equity law. Then, due to world events like 9/11, the Iraq War, Brexit, the pandemic, and now the ongoing cost of living crisis, he has drawn a line in the sand. He has said, enough is enough. We cannot carry on like this. He has so much knowledge and experience that he wants to share with everyone, as well as his own story. And we are so pleased to secure his services and his time today to share with you, our listeners. So without further ado, let me introduce today's guest, Mr. Andy Barlow.
Greetings, how are you?
Pleased to meet you, my mate.
Pleased to meet you too, you well?
Thanks so much for coming here today.
That's all, brother. Glad to have you here.
So, Andy, we've already mentioned briefly, obviously, your passion for law, everyday law, maritime law, equity law. But what I want to do is, let's jump straight in, and a bit of a delicate period of your life.
Okay.
But let's go straight into your lowest point. The point where you'd had enough of this life. You felt, I've done my time, I've had enough.
Yeah.
Let's pick the story up there and tell us what was going on in your head, what was the reasons behind all that, and let's just pick it up from...
really dark point. I mean, I'd left my marriage in 2020 after 33 years of marriage. Realised that things weren't right in the world. I was questioning everything, living alone, felt very alone, very... What's the word I'm looking for? Just alone. So I went down the rabbit holes of the pandemic, what's going on around there, went on all that lot. And it got to a really dark point where I couldn't see a way out. I thought, what's going on with the world? Why am I here? What am I doing? And I was already been diagnosed as suffering from depression by the GPs and everything else, but I came off all medication, didn't want to go down that road. And I just looked at things, I thought, how can humanity be so horrible to each other?
Did the depression come from the failure of the marriage?
No,
was you already feeling...
That was already before that. So the marriage started breaking down about 10, 12 years before that.
Right. So you've gone through all the motions.
But I was just trying to fight to save it.
Yeah.
And I look back and I think, okay, I wasted 12 years. Basically, I could have been doing something different, but it's part of my journey.
Yeah.
And I went down, like I say, when it also really started, I suppose, when it happened in Wuhan in 2019, and then went down the rabbit holes and going down that way. And you got down there and you start opening things like what they're doing with the kids and what they're doing with everything else, and it started really sort of hurting me, and I thought, this is not right. It's not right. And I got to a point where I was fighting for people's affection. I was fighting for people's acceptance, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
Because I felt so alone. I thought, I just want people to like me. I want people to love me.
Yeah.
Because I felt unloved. So went down to August the 30th, 2020. I'd already recorded my goodbyes.
Had you?
Yeah, I'd recorded my goodbyes to my family. Sorry.
No,
Yeah,
you take your time, take a deep breath. This is a big thing, and obviously a lot of people will know where you are, gone through this, and they will understand.
And it literally was. I thought, I don't want to be here anymore. I want to die. I wasn't aware of spirituality at that time. This is what really woke me up. So August the 30th, 2020, 8:12 p.m. It was just ingrained in my brain. I'd said my goodbyes, and I sat there with a knife. And I was medically trained. I knew how to do it quickly to get it over with. And I sat there with a knife, and all of a sudden I heard someone shout, "Stop!"
Wow.
And I thought, where's that come from? I just couldn't fathom out. I thought I lived alone, and someone just shouted, "Stop!" at me. Followed, which is a freaky thing for me, my house phone ringing. Now, the only person who had my phone on at the time was my mum.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It's a friend called Gary Fowler. I hadn't spoken to him for over 30 years. And he's in Guernsey.
Behave.
I'm serious. The first thing he said to me was, "Put the knife down." I thought, how the...
Behave.
Oh, seriously? The first thing he said to me was that, and he said, "I'm sorry, Andy." He said, "But I felt a disturbance in the force."
Wow.
I'm a Star Wars fan. And that's when I realised there's something bigger for me.
Something has really...
Yeah. I got involved with a group of people who were Reiki healers. They were just very spiritual people. My version of spirituality, as I mentioned before during another conversation, my version of spirituality, hey, driving around a VW camper, open the door and all the smoke comes out. Hey, man. Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
But I went down to see a Reiki healer, Jane Jones, down in Southampton. She was my first healer I've ever been, and I still go to her. I still go down to her and we have cups of tea.
Yeah.
The first thing she said to me as I walked through the door, she said, "What you just did, you don't have to feel sorry for." I went, "What?" She said, "I know what you did." And she said, "Your dad's with you." Oh boy, that just let the floodgates open. I thought, why's Dad with me? Because he died and I had so many questions I couldn't ask him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she said, he's proud of you. You did the right thing. So she went through a lot of conversation, went through the Reiki healing and everything else. And she said, look, at the end of the day, she said, spirit will do this to you. They'll drag you to the depths of despair and then they'll let you go. It's like a boomerang. She had a bungee cord. She said, boing, off you go. She said, they've let you go. She said, so now you need to realise that you are not the physical, you are the spiritual.
100%.
And I went, what? And then, I mean, Anton and I, we met a while back and we know we're soul brothers, but that for me was the darkest moment of my life when I tried to kill myself.
Without a doubt.
But then you go down the trauma and you say, well, why you bloody kept me here? Look what's still going on. Do you know what I mean? You question everything.
Well, yeah, I mean, you start to think then, well, look, there's got to be a bigger reason and a bigger purpose. Yeah. There must be a reason why I'm still around.
Yeah.
And I think this is where, when people have that emptiness or loneliness inside, and a lot of people, what they do is they spend the first 20, 30 years chasing everything but what they need to be chasing.
Yeah.
They chase the marriages.
Just a tail.
They chase the materialistic stuff. They chase the house, the car, the woman, the man, whatever. And then what they realise is it doesn't fill the hole. It doesn't fill the gap.
No.
And then what I've learned from my own experiences and my own spiritual experiences, the fastest and greatest way to fill that void is through service. Mm-hmm. And it's through service to others, giving back, and it's through gratitude. Gratitude and service are the fastest ways to fill because when you give, you feel like you're fulfilling and making someone else happy.
Yeah.
You're helping them. But not only are you helping them, you're helping yourself. Mm-hmm. It's like you've got this big massive hole and it needs filling, and every time you help someone, it's like putting another brick in, brick, and before you know it, you forget that feeling of loneliness. Yeah. And then this is another thing we teach. When you can be happy with nothing, when you can be happy on your own, then you realise everything else is just amazing. Everything else is a bonus.
It's like I was listening to a podcast this morning, and he was saying that when you recognise the abundance in your life, when you have little material wealth, if you like, so you can see around you, I am abundant. I have.
Exactly.
Wow, look how abundant I am, and that gratitude comes in.
Yeah, I look at myself now. I mean, I don't have a house. I don't have anything like that. I live in a van, but I feel I'm the richest man on the world.
Yes,
exactly.
Lovely.
Because I've got everything I need.
Yeah, lovely.
Do you know what I mean? Everything's there. I've got rid of so many possessions. I've given everything away. I've still got some furniture I'm trying to get rid of. If anybody in Andover wants some furniture, let me know. But I'm just giving it to people who need it more than I do.
Yeah.
Because I went through that role. I mean, as we all do before I woke up or became aware of everything else. I wanted the nice things. I wanted all this. I went and spent all this money and got into debt and everything else. And
exactly.
And then you start waking up and you think, oh my God, what have I done? Yeah. But then I suddenly realised as I was going through 2021 and obviously 2022, 2021 was when I woke up even more after taking some medicine.
What medicine was that?
Bufo.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Tell me your experience.
Explain that.
You're just staying there with that one.
You can't call it medication and then not go into it. What have you took?
Paracetamol, that's it. No, after sort of 2020, Jane, she introduced me to another group of people, Trish Turner, I'll mention her because she's an amazing soul.
Yeah, I'm connected to Trisha on Facebook.
She invited me to her meditation groups every month.
Yeah.
We got together, there's about 10, 12 of us at the time. And I would sit there and the shamans come in, and this is why questioning your spirituality at the time, they go, right, we're going to do this today. I'm going, what? And they go, let's go into meditation. I went, what? And they said, yeah, you go into meditation, you'll see wonderful things on there. Going, all I can see is the back of my eyelids, because I wasn't ready to sing. Jane then said to me, she said, yeah, but the teacher chooses the student, and they will only unveil themselves to the student when they're ready. And that's stuck in my head, and I thought, yeah, that makes sense. But anyway, we went down these, and it got to, April 2021, and in March she said, we're going to do another weekend in April. She said, who wants to come with it? Yeah, I'll put me down, here's my £10. She said, but we're going to do a medicine weekend. I went, okay. I said, medicine weekend, this sounds exciting.
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
I was thinking, paracetamols, ibuprofens.
Yeah.
So we get there, and there's two shamans. There's Joby and there's Wayne. Joby's an amazing bloke. He's got his own podcast and everything else. But anyway, so we're sitting there and they're all going around. There's about 10 of us, and they said, so what we're going to do today is Bufo. And I went, what the hell's Bufo?
Yeah. I've not heard of Bufo, actually.
And they said, we'll talk about it in a minute. They said, so what medicines have you done? They went around the room. Everybody was sort of saying ayahuasca, San Pedro, all these LSD, whatever. They're putting it all down going, what? And they said, we take mushrooms. I went, but you put mushrooms in a stew.
So was this your first experience of anything like psychedelic?
Yeah. I didn't realise anything was out there.
So your upbringing never give you any of them experiences?
No. But anyway, so Wayne says to us, he said, Andy, what have you done? So I did list off the paracetamols, the ibuprofen. Yeah. And he had a laugh. He said, no, seriously, what have you done? I said, nothing. I didn't realise there was natural medicine out there. I didn't realise about this.
Right.
And he said, okay, well, this is the poison from a toad. I went, what, you got to lick a toad? He went, no. He said, you smoke it? I said, what, you smoke the toad? And he went, no. He said, you smoke the poison. I went, okay, but it's crystalline poison. I says, what's it going to do to you? And then Trish says, don't go on YouTube and watch the videos. I went, what? She said, that'll scare you. She said, I'm not doing it. I went, but you're the host. But anyway, so we went around. He said, Trish, do you want to go first? She said, no. So there's another friend of ours, she went into it. She'd done it multiple times, and she said, I love this experience. And I sat there going, okay. And she smoked the poison. Down she went into the trip or whatever it's called. And all I could hear was saying, have I wet myself?
But does it happen instantly? As soon as you...
Yeah, boom, you're in. And that's it.
Really?
So I sat there and go, am I going to do that? Am I going to shit myself or whatever? I was going down that whole process in my head was going there.
Yeah.
And then he just said, right, Andy, it's your turn. And I went, okay. Something just clicked and said, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
You're all right. We got you sort of thing.
So the setting is someone's going to watch you and make sure you're okay.
Shamans. Yeah. So basically what they want to do,
shamans,
because it's going into, if you take the full dose, which Wayne wouldn't give me because it's my first time taking medicine, he gave me 50%. He said, because it takes you into astral travelling. He says, if you're not ready for it, he said it can
bit
cause
mind blowing.
Yeah. But there's one guy he left to the end for obvious reasons. So he said, come on then, have a go. I said, well, I don't smoke. I've never smoked in my life. He said, it's all right, just sip it in. And boom, literally I went straight into darkness. And all I could hear myself saying, get me out, I don't like it, get me out. It's too dark. And all I heard was Wayne say, open your bloody eyes. And I went, oh yeah. But he says, what it works, it's only 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But it feels like seconds because there's just no time. Nothing. All I saw was, I didn't break through the barriers or whatever they call it. All I saw was a group of people or whatever just watching me over there in the distance, followed by lots of geometric shapes coming at me. And then I was like, lots of tears, lots of laughter, lots of tears, lots of laughter, because it helps release the trauma. But what it did for me was it actually released my negativity and worry about work.
Okay.
2 days later, I just quit my job.
Wow.
And I never looked back.
Wow.
Because I knew then that I had a higher purpose. I had a purpose to help people.
Oh, lovely.
And that's what Joby and Wayne said after. They said, we knew what was your role is because we saw so many guides watching you and helping you. They said, you've got an army behind you. And I went, fuck off. I didn't believe it.
It's a lot to take.
Yeah, but it was just an amazing experience. The fact that after that, because it stays in your bloodstream for up to 3 months or maybe longer, and you can reactivate it purely through breath work.
Yeah,
beautiful.
And the next day afterwards, I went down to Bournemouth, and they did say you shouldn't drive. Well, I did. Sat on Bournemouth Beach, just staring at the sun in the midday, but it wasn't hurting my eyes. It was allowing, it opened up my pineal gland so much, I was able to see the sun and everything else, and it was just beautiful.
So just quickly, so we can recap. So you've gone from basically you about a depression. You thought your life was shit. Yeah. Your marriage was breaking up or broken up at this time. Yeah, I'm going to take my own life.
Yeah.
You're there with the knife, and suddenly you get out of the blue a message, a call, a phone call, and everything else, and that's sort of the bit that pulls you back from the brink.
Yeah.
So then from that, then you're basically like, okay, where's my life taking me now? I want answers to my life. Now, see, because what a lot of people do is they go down the drug route, or they go down the alcohol, or they go down
escapism.
Escapism.
Yeah.
Now, for me, it's another version of searching for something, because you want answers. So a lot of people go down the spiritual path or so. Now, so in your occasion, that's what's opened up for you.
Yeah.
So that's what's introduced you to. So did you know some of these people beforehand, or were you starting to meet these people new? All new?
The ones that introduced me to Jane, we knew each other because they were freedom fighters, for want of a better word. They were based on stand in the park, etc. So I knew them. But the likes of Trisha, I just met on Facebook. I thought, okay, for some reason I'm attracted to her, not physically, but there's just something there that needed to practice.
So you're taking big decisions, because a lot of people won't get up off the couch. No. Do you know what I mean? So you're taking that big decision, like, look, I'm going to connect and go about it. So is that in your personality when you were younger, that you were always someone to experiment or try or meet new people?
Hell no. I was always the one standing in the kitchen of the parties, as Jonah Lewis used to say.
Right. So now you're taking on a whole new persona, a whole new...
Yeah, but I still question it, because what you're saying makes me think, hang on a minute, was I really doing that? I was just adding people as a friend, because I thought they obviously need to be a friend of mine. So it's now starting to click, and that there's something a higher purpose coming and saying you need to connect with these people.
Yeah. And you are drawn and connected to people, and people come into your life at the right times. So now a few years later, if you like, you can look back on them experiences, and now you can say, whoa, that is quite weird how all these dots, the magic web has been being formed. So we go back. So you're messing around with a few drugs. You're looking at the sunset and everything else. So are you starting to this point now form a direction of where you want to go, what you want to do?
Up to that point, I mean, let's put a bit of context in. Up to that point, I was working in common law. I was trying to help people that way. And things weren't going well. Things weren't working out as they should do. And then Jane always said, you've got another role coming. She says, something is going to come on and land on your doorstep. She said, it's going to be bigger. She said, but you've got to start believing in yourself. And that's one thing I still struggle to this day. So anyway, we went down the road of all this healing and everything else, but when after Bufo, I was still, up to that point, I was still working in the corporate world. I was still working for the man, as they say. But it always felt wrong to be doing it. And taking the bufo made me realise how wrong it was, because everything is an illusion.
Yeah.
Everything we do, we manifest as we look at it.
Yeah.
It's there.
The Matrix.
Yeah, literally.
Your projections.
Yeah. So, no, I'm not Neo.
You are, though. That's the key.
We're all Neo. We just don't know it. And that's the problem.
We aim to get there, though, don't we?
Yeah. But no, it's for me, it's just at that point I thought, I've got to continue helping people.
Yeah.
Jane has always said to me, and I always sing Jane's praises because she has guided me so much. She said, but what you're doing on the legal side or helping people that side is not your path.
Right.
She said, your path is a healer. She said, now you will heal through your talks, you will heal through how you interact with people. She said, but the legal side will eventually drop away. She said, and you will become a physical healer.
Yes.
She said, so that is coming on your journey. I thought, again, I'm sitting there going, really? And she's sitting there going, I'll tell him in a minute. I'm going,
so she get loads of messages.
Who are you talking to? She said, my guides. I said, really? Because she has 3 guys that sit with her, and this is how my mind was working. Because you imagine, I've only really just woken up spiritually. I'm thinking, well, these people mad.
And from a human point of view, we only can, put things in certain boxes and understand.
Yeah.
So when someone's saying these other things, like, you'll be looking at your life and say, well, this is how I pay my bills. I do this job and I get so much money. And so in your head, you're trying to logically think, well, how can I do anything else? Or because I'm trapped in this hamster wheel. So this is where we ask, or the universe has to, you have to trust and have that belief and take that leap of faith where, look, there's something bigger and better here, but you've got to let go first. You've got to let go.
That's the word.
Letting go is one of the hardest things, but that's
And because the thing is, how do you let go of everything what you think is normal or your perception of normal? So how can you let, so it's so... Not many people can do it.
No.
Do you know, and there's some people are forced into it.
Yeah.
Trauma happens, accidents happen, lose someone. So trauma is, for me, trauma is the universe giving you a big kick up the arse and saying, look, this is not what life's all about. Other people have to come into it gradually, but ultimately it is a bit of a kick up the arse. And then you've got to have the attitude and the courage to follow it through.
Yeah.
So obviously that's where your journey's taking you at the moment.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it seems like after that bufo experience, I actually felt completely different. I felt so relaxed and at one with myself. And then I'll give it a couple of months down the road, I was starting to fall back into the old traits. So the bufo take me to a place that says this is how you could be. Yeah. And that's where I look at it. Yeah. But you need to work on yourself first. And then it's like you go back into the old habits and it's like, oh, I'm not worthy. You get, and I'm sure a lot of people feel that way. And I've up to February last year, I was still the depressive monkey. Right. I just think, I can't be asked for this. All these people want a bit of me. These people are asking for my help. Leave me alone. Just let me know. And I did ask the universe, take me away, get me off the plane, take me. Buggers wouldn't let me. That's the way I look at it.
I think you got too much of a purpose.
Yeah, well, that's what I realise.
I think what will happen there. So, like once you've had that sort of awakening, or that freedom, that feeling of lightness and joy, and then what happens is over the months, the materialistic world, the heaviness and density of the 3D world, what it does, it starts pulling you back down. And now there's a lot to be said for being grounded. That's important, but also then like the food you're putting in your body, the water you're drinking. The things you're listening to, the news, the media, and then before you know it, you're completely absorbed back into the heavy, dense world, back into the everyday problems, back into worry, back into stress, back into suffering, and that's where they want you. They want you suffering.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
so
they want to keep you in fear.
And then the hardest thing is to keep pulling away from that and pushing towards the light, pushing towards the good. And again, that comes back in the more you can help people on any level, it pushes you more towards the light. Now, what you've done, obviously, you've got your law background, if you like. So naturally, that seems a good way of how you can help people at first before you get to the healing. Because you could reach out and anyone who's struggling with whichever law, and then you can give them advice and support, and that's how you build your network. That's how you build your platform. But that platform is allowing you then to grow into the person you want to be. Yeah. So let's just go forward before we go backwards again. Yeah. So because you met Anthony at the Crown Pub. Now, because obviously the whole truth movement, which obviously is all connected to what the pandemic and this kind of stuff.
It came about really because people were looking for somewhere to go where the difference of opinion regarding the pandemic, people were isolated.
Yeah.
So we, being the pub landlord, and my views allowed for the doors to be open for people to come.
So you were sharing that on Facebook and places like that?
It was a bit weird, really. So I think I maybe mentioned it to a couple of friends. I'd hired Carly, who was a nurse that had protested at London. She was a nurse that saw everything that was going on. She protested in London in a uniform. She ended up in the national press, and they sacked her. Right. No questions asked. No, and she's got a massive story to tell herself. Anyway, we hired Carly. We had all sorts. Anyway, I then created this name of Truth or Tuesday.
Truth or Tuesday.
Yeah. And
so is that what you saw? Because you're down in London.
I was actually I'd made connections with Rachel and Chris.
Rachel, yeah.
And Rachel was with Pete Ferris at the time.
That's right.
And I met Rachel through. She was setting up a business. She introduced me to it. That's how we connected.
Right.
And then we connected because she said, "Oh, Chris is doing this," and then we're going up to. Do you want to come up with us? And that's when I started going up to the Crown.
So you'd all decided between you. Look, we're going to travel 4 hours up the country.
Well, no, Rachel lives in St Helens.
I live in St Helens.
I used to travel up to.
So then you travel up, and then we're going to go. We're going to go to this pub where there's a bunch of truthers, if you like, and we'll go and have a pint and support him in his mission.
Oh, the crazy thing was for me, as I said, we were having this discussion earlier on, because Andy was doing common law on Facebook, so people were connecting on Facebook that were different views of the pandemic, and Andy was good enough to put himself on the firing line in terms of going live on Facebook all the time. Andy was basically, I can help you, I will help you have personal sovereignty and this, that and the other. So I was watching Andy and I'm like, to Lou, I remember we were watching Andy on a live, and I'm going, Lou, we're going to have to do what this guy's saying because this shit's going down.
So did you know all sort of where people stood legally and the the official side of it, if you like? Or
at that time it started to dawn on me that the fact that we're being lied to. Right. Everything that we do is a lie, and because they're telling us to do it, no one has authority over us. We are the living men and women, and then it started to kick in.
So you've got this purpose now of like your own sovereignty and being in control of your own self mastery. You don't want other people dictating to you what you have to do, when you should do that kind of thing. So I know as well, so like a big thing, what for you was like 9/11, that affected you. Yeah. That made you... And I've got a few friends, do you know what, I was speaking to someone the other day actually, and he said, Kev, we went through this period, he said, where we were just watching YouTube and videos and anything we could get our information on. We just, we wanted to just learn as much as possible. Now, I always have this thing, I always think going down rabbit holes can be a little bit dangerous. Because for the simple reason, I know, where your focus goes, energy flows.
Right.
And sometimes you can go so far down, and then what happens is you start off with your family and friends, then anybody will listen to you, then you find yourself at a pub where you've never been before telling everyone, right? And so for me, it consumes you. Right, and so sometimes you have to be pulled back to like a little bit of reality, don't you?
And the pandemic was consuming, but generally that was consuming anyway, because they were putting that into consciousness to consume people. Yeah, both sides, whichever side you were on.
Well, I think the big thing is with if we talk about 9/11, so basically that was an event where obviously it affected the people, obviously in America and then the buildings, everything else. But obviously the pandemic is like worldwide, right? And then. But what you had then was, and I've seen this with my own eyes with people when you had an event, is all walks of life were sort of suddenly like waking up, if you like. They were just refusing to accept Like, this is not fair. This is not normal. Something's happening here. Now, they did. I'm not saying they knew what it was. I don't think anybody even knew.
But you knew something was wrong.
So then, what they did was they were making these communities, coming together, chatting with other people. Because I got to be honest, I went to one of his get-togethers, and I thought when I get there, they're all just. I just turned up to support him. I thought when we get there, they're going to be a bunch of nutters, and it's just going to be a bunch of like. And I just thought I'll have one drink, and I'll get out of there. You know, that kind of thing. But when I couldn't believe it. Yeah. First of all, on the car park, there was like Mercs and Audis and Teslas, and I walked in, and there was dentists, there were doctors, there were, and I just thought, what? Yeah, normal people, and what's it called? And then I was listening. I was stood at the bar, and I was listening to conversations, and they were coming up and hugging him, and they were like, "You don't realise what you did for us. You know, you give us an opportunity to speak." Because a lot of people didn't feel like they had anyone to speak to or speak out or voice their concerns. You know, and so obviously what Critch did with the pub there obviously helped so many people, and they come from all over the country, like yourself. Yeah. So let's just pick that up then. So
we even had someone who'd escaped Canada,
right? Who
came to the pub as well.
Was that not Trudeau?
The escaped Trudeau.
Oh, no. I thought it was actually Trudeau who escaped.
No, he wouldn't come to our pub.
Do you know what?
Trudeau wouldn't be in our pub, believe me.
I'm getting confused. Was he trying to escape the Who? No, I'm just listen. I'm getting it all confused, all mixed up. Anyway, so you've come up, you've gone to the pub, now you're meeting all these like-minded people, now you're offering your services and your advice, which obviously people would have, welcomed that. Did Andy help you at all when you needed to get into Italy? Or was
no, I didn't actually approach Andy. I had another contact and I was able to get through. Yeah.
Because we managed to smuggle him into Italy.
Yeah, that's right.
and smuggle him out, which is a miracle in itself. But we should have left him there. But anyway, so now what I wanted to say was, so like my first meeting with yourself was only a month or so back, when you were holding a mind, body and spirit fair. Would you class it as that? Yeah. So how have you gone from smoking toad, ribbit, or in the library, Reddit? So you've gone from smoking a toad to meeting new people, to being in a pub speaking with truthers, to suddenly now holding a mind, body and spirit event.
Honestly,
how has that come about?
I really don't know. I don't know how it's happened.
Yeah, but the universe works that way sometimes. You just got to go with it, haven't you?
Things just presented to me, and I just think, okay, let's try this. And it's something I've always wanted to do, is because I truly believe we need to be networked together, and we are technically, but a lot of people still aren't. And we got to work together as one and engage with each other and energy exchange with each other. Yeah. So let's get away from this.
But I'm just trying to join the dots. So you're being pulled away from law, which is very much like word and writing and that the legal side of things, but you're being pulled now towards a spiritual thing. So there must have been a crossover or a pull or something.
All right, let's break it down. So up to the point of attempted suicide, I was doing common law. After that, it didn't feel right. So I thought, okay, something's not quite right. So it was not working. Nothing was working. I was failing more than I was succeeding. So I fell into contract law, looked at that. So that's how I got into there. Then I started working that way and had multiple failures, multiple successes, multiple failures, more failures than successes. I thought, this isn't working, so right. But it was February last year that everything changed for me.
Right, okay.
Something just clicked and went, simple. I went, I'm just a simple man. I've got to make it simpler for everyone else. And that's when I started listening to the likes of Tom Barnett, Zev Freeman, Dave Armstrong in Australia, Cal Washington in Canada, etc. I was listening to these guys and I thought, this makes sense. What they're saying, what their message was coming across was, you are already sovereign. You do not need pieces of paper. You just have to understand that you are your own authority. I thought, boom, that was a crossover. And I thought, but then people are saying to me that I came away from your talk and I felt amazing. I felt an energy that I've never felt before. And I think that's where the crossover is coming, is I'm still doing the legal stuff to help people, but I'm getting more and more drawn towards the empowerment and the healing side through that.
So who was you giving the talks to?
Who was I giving talks to? Well, obviously we did the Crown, and we had people within my Facebook groups saying, we can set up an event. Would you like to come do a talk here? Would you like to come do this? Then I got involved with Carry On Camping and
people were
like
just turning up and listening to these talks. And
they weren't big numbers.
No, but
they weren't big
at
numbers.
the Crown, though.
There
was 200 at least at the Crown.
That was good.
That was a brilliant night.
Well, I mean, the thing is, with what's called, there was less on your first event. You wouldn't want a big man. You've got to find your feet first.
Yeah, I mean, I look at the talks and everything else and think, okay, you're talking to someone, you're giving them guidance. I don't use the word advice. I use the word guidance. I'm giving you guidance, and they're sitting there for about 2.5 hours, and they walk away, and they only take 20% away.
Yeah.
So that's when I said, okay, we've got to change up again. We've got to keep it moving, keep the fluid movement. So I changed it into workshops. So getting people together in their homes, whatever, and doing workshops. Yeah. But then events start appearing. Carry On Camping, Spellfest. Yeah. Now I'm being brought into Van Life UK because I live in a van. They said, come and help us do this. And there's Rise Above has just approached me as well. So very good thing.
So, you know, your workshops and that. So have you broken them down now into like modules where so you've got a plan of what you're going to discuss and talk to people about, and so through experience and you talk, that's what happens then. So now it becomes more structured, so you can get as much information across to people.
It becomes as structured as you can, because when you get a group of people and they've all got multiple questions, and you say, "This is what we're going to talk about. Can I talk about? I'll add it to the list." Yeah. So I always let them have, because it's their session. Of course, it's not nothing to do with me. It's them. So then I go through the basics of know thyself. How do we get to where we are today? Why are we in this position we're in today, and how do we get out of it? So that's what I do. I give people tools to go away with. I don't tell them I'll do it for you. You've got to do it yourself. You've got to empower yourself. Yeah. So then I say, do your own research. Never believe a single word that comes out of my mouth. Yeah. Because how do you know it's the truth? Yeah. So until you see it for yourself, then you're never going to believe me. So that's how I work it. And so it is a more structured approach. But I'm changing it again because I'm looking at the last couple of workshops I've done. It's not flowing properly. And for me, it's frustrating. Oh, I could do better. So I think at the end of the day, I've got to do something different.
But I suppose a lot of that comes with when you're meeting more people, new people. Yeah. Sometimes it can be finance. It can be a mixture of things. So when you've been to these other people's events and done your talks and your workshop, is that what's then made you think, I would like to hold one of these myself? Yeah. And then obviously by this time you're meeting a lot of people, because it was quite a big turnout. There was a lot of stalls.
It's bigger than we thought. It was bigger than we thought.
That's what I'm saying. So you a lot of people have you've reached out and said, I'll have a stall. I'll have I'll come to that event. I'll listen to that talker, because it was a successful event.
It was very successful.
So is there any plans for any more of those?
Yes, we got things in the pipeline. We're looking at. It's just trying to get time to, because at the moment we had a lady doing a lot of the events for us, so she's stepped away for personal reasons. Yeah. So it's myself and Jen, basically the other Jen, we're trying to sort things out. I'm struggling with Zooms, I'm struggling with everything, but we're looking hopefully to get one done in April and another one done in August, September time.
Wonderful.
And will you look to sort of take them all around the country and different places like that? Yeah. And then then that attracts different people for different stalls and anything to do with holistical stuff, or this mind, body and spirit stuff. Yeah. You normally find once people know these events are on, they come flowing, they hire a stall. So what's sort of driving you now? What is it you're after, or where are you heading, or if I said, where's Andy 12 months from now, 5 years from now, where we're heading here?
Seeing humanity realise they're free. And I've
so you've still got a big thing.
You played a part in raising consciousness.
Yeah,
so consciousness and the truth thing is still massive for
huge,
you. Yeah. And is that just with all topics, or just mainly with the pandemic, or is it to do with?
It's mainly with everything that people are dealing with on a daily basis: utilities, gas, electric, water, dealing with council tax, stuff like that. Getting people to understand that these are just offers. Yeah. So how do you handle an offer? I mean, you buy a house, you put an offer in, you negotiate. So why not negotiate with them? So this is what I do. I say to people, offer something back. Do it. See what happens. Have fun with the system. It's a game.
Play the game.
It's literally a game. Everything's a game out there. That's where I look at it. I mean, if you're in business, you go out and get a quote, and then you negotiate the quote, and whatever. That is what they do to us. They come to you with a council tax bill. Here's £2,000. We want you to pay that. Thank you very much for your offer. Here's mine.
And is that, can you do that?
Yeah.
And people don't realise that.
Correct.
Same with electricity, same with your gas.
100%. Well, electricity's free. Gas is free, and so is water.
So what happens then if they come back and they say, well, we don't accept your offer?
Then you renegotiate.
Behave.
Seriously. If you go into that Telegram group, we've had multiple wins over the weekend just purely on payment offers. I was saying to Anthony Ford, was helping a lady who was being chased by a kitchen company, I'm not going to name it, because they fitted the kitchen wrong. It's a lot of money, about 27k. And I said, put an offer in. What do you mean? I said, use a notice of payment offer, put in what you can afford, and if they cash the cheque, they've accepted your terms and conditions. And she went, really? I said, just try it. Boom, done. Saved herself over £14,000.
Fantastic.
But this is what it is. It's knowing that everything is an offer. When you go to the supermarket, where does it tell you got to pay for the items on the shelf? Where does it tell you got to pay for the fuel you put in your car? It doesn't. It's your presumption you have to pay for it.
It's a game, isn't it?
Now it's getting interesting. See, this is what we need to get into. This is why I was looking forward to this. So, this is a classic. So, you end up on a piece of land and then you find out after it, you get a car parking charge. And you're like, what the fuck? So, can you get out of that?
Yeah.
See?
Now, one thing I will say to everybody, a lot of people out there are haters and there are trolls and guns, is I always test things myself. So I was saying to Anthony, I've been out and I've got the ULEZ charge, I've been time tunnel charged, I've got them all, and I'm using my processes to defeat them. Because if I said to everyone today, Kev, I can get you out of that, no problem, and just give me 500 quid to do it and I'll do it for you. That to me is a scam. For me, it's a question of, here's the tools, here's the research, have a read through and let me know what you think. This will get you out of it, but it's down to your intention of how you want to do it.
Well, that's fair enough.
And I think for me, that's the most problem.
But isn't that energy in itself? Because again, it's intention.
What I always find is, so like say the first chapter of your life, like you always you look back now and you think, oh, God, why did I waste all them years doing like law and all the rest of it? It doesn't fill me. But then look what you can do now. Look how you can serve people in a completely, but still using your skills from the past. Right? And what we tend to do as well, like especially with the Drake Michigan platform, we always want to teach people how to turn their mess into a message. Right? So you've had your life, you've had all these experiences, and then obviously it was a mess. And now it's a case of like, well, how do I turn this now into a message to help people? And that's what you're doing now. So, well, you're still finding your feet. It's early days.
Yeah, of course.
But the thing is, there's so many people that are going to resonate.
Oh yeah, especially now.
Well, with the cost of living, let's be honest.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know about you, but just lately, you get a letter through the door now, and they give you like 60 quid off your gas or electric.
Yeah, 66.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Well, there's not 33. No, anyway, it was 66. Right. So, but the thing is, it's almost like they're rubbing it in your face now. They're just taking the piss out of you now.
Of course they are.
Oh, the bills are going up, but by the way, it's just enough to keep your feet warm.
And the fact that you use 66 is taking the piss out of you.
Yeah, economic forum. Anyway, exactly. So we're not going into that.
Could be a while.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to say is, so like, because there will be people struggling at home. They'll be like sort of they're choosing this week whether they're paying the shopping for the food for the kids and the family, or they're paying the gas and electric.
Of course.
And then at the back of their mind, they'll be worrying, look, if I get behind, I'm going to get pulled up in front of a court, or they're going to turn my gas and I went through this the hard way, and you quickly learn they're powerful, but they're not as powerful as you might think. So like, I know there's certain circumstances where they can't cut you off. They can't evict you from your house. There's so many, it's such a long path, before they can actually do anything.
But this is where knowledge is power, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, if you can be brought into fear and anxiety very quickly there, which will kill people.
Yeah.
What they're doing will kill people.
Of course,
for sure.
Well, people will commit suicide.
Yeah, exactly.
People will,
They will, or they'll just not put their electric and heat on.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they'll freeze to death, or they'll not feed themselves, or because they're fearful.
One thing, sorry, Andy, I always go on about, I wish when I was younger, I always say I wish I would have had a mentor, right? I never had one. Never in my life, right? And it's so I had to sort of learn the hard way. But the good thing about learning the hard way is you can literally tell other people what you went through.
Exactly. I look at these as trials.
100%. So I remember when I lost my first business, we built up a nice business, what would be classed as very successful, and we lost absolutely everything. and we got dragged in front of liquid insolvency practitioners who told me to just sign my name on. And because I was young and naive, I just wanted an end to it all. I didn't care the fact that I was right or wrong. So what I did, I ended up signing my name to something, and it's only years later I realised I'd struck myself off as a director for 5 or 6. I almost took responsibility for stuff what happened, but that's not the truth of what happened, right? And then this is where it was good. I even said to him, well, how come you've not gone after like the mother-in-law? And because she was a director, you know what they said to me? It would cost too much money and time, so we'll just leave her.
Oh, so they went for you.
So as long as I signed the piece of paper taking full responsibility for everything, and my name was tarnished and I got dragged through the shit, right? Anyway, and then I remember I got dragged in front of I was in like a room, like it was a court thing, and this woman was talking to me, and I'd had debts and bills and all the rest of it, and she said, right, Kevin, we're going to go through all your incomes and your outgoings, and we're going to see how much money you've got, this kind of thing. So I thought, this will be fun. Right? So I wrote it all down and everything. And she said, so what do you want to offer? I'm not sure if this was electric or gas or something. And I said, I'll offer him £50 a month or something. And she went, but you've not got £50 a month to offer him. And I went, no, but I've got to offer him something. And
you were just trying.
I was just thought. Anyway, so then I said, what about £10 a month? And she went, Kev, you're in minus. You've not got £10 a month. She said, listen, I'm going to write here. I think it was something silly like 1p because you have to offer something. Right? And I went, are you serious? And she said, listen, Kevin, she said, I'm here. I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to get the facts. And the facts are your life at the moment is you're not in a position. So why put yourself under this pressure. This worry, right? This is the fact. And there's no court, no judge who will say otherwise. He'll say, look, he can't. What do you want? His soul. That's just for celebrities who want to sell that stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know
That's
another
story.
That's another. But they're so... And then when I started to understand this is when I started to feel like I was getting my life back. Right, and there was many things that happened in my life, like getting kicked out of rented accommodation because we couldn't afford it, being shoved in a council property, I felt I was at my lowest ever. And do you know what I mean? I felt like a failure. 2 kids, a missus in a council property, no job, broke my back, blah blah blah, all the rest of it, right? So, it's only then when you can start building your life again, when you can start looking at your life from different angles, where you start getting the knowledge, and then also this is funny because I always say this: it's when I had absolutely nothing, and at my lowest, I found happiness, and then it's through happiness and gratitude that then you find abundance.
Well, the building blocks are, you're putting the foundations down there with the gratitude, aren't
But then, ain't it funny how you spend them first 20, 30 years of your life chasing something, only to have it all ripped away? And I always say, you come into this world with nothing. You leave this world with nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? So it's almost like everything gets ripped away back to nothing and then says, do you want to have another crack at this game of life now?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, but anyway, so let's go back to... so you've held your first... Is that the first event you held at Haydock? And it was fantastic success. I was there.
Yeah.
We loved it.
Yeah, we were. It's the first one we ever held. We all panicked because, like I say, Jen Frost, who's my partner, we were together on that one as well. But we sat there on the day before, thought, is anybody going to come? Because I think at that point,
of course you did.
I think we only had 10 bookings at that point, and we thought, oh no, we've got all these stalls coming, we've got the healers coming in, it's going to be a failure, and we were going through that mindset. And then we just said, do you know what? What'll be will be. Let's just
you let it go, though, didn't you? That's the thing.
And then people just turned up. People said, I was in Tesco, saw what was going on, thought I wanted to come see what's going on. They get into another event and say, we thought we had to come and see what's going on here. And it was a lovely day.
You know what the British are like? Yeah. They love a queue and they're nosy bastards. As soon as there's something going on, curtain twitching, they love it. So when's the next event?
We're looking at April. We were aiming for 1st of April for New Year's Day. April Fool's Day. But I think we're going to struggle to get that up and running in that time.
And is there anything from the first one, what you've learned, what you're taking?
Loads. Yeah. Yeah, don't bring him.
Well, he does bring trouble wherever he goes.
No, it's got down to the fact that we need to organise it better. People just turned up and just set up where they wanted to set up, and we thought, no, the next time we're going to say, okay, this is the healing place, so we'll have proper signs put up. We'll guide people through there as well.
I was going to say that, and don't take this the wrong way.
No, I don't.
It's just my
It's
advice.
a learning curve.
So, like, because I turned up there as well, and what it was, like, so a young woman was speaking first. I think her name was Zoe, wasn't it? Zoe Lee.
We got her on in a couple of weeks. Actually.
I wanted to, you could tell she had a lot to say and she had good energy and everything else. But because we had all the stalls around, it sort of, people were talking.
Too much background noise.
And you couldn't listen to the...
But you learn from it, don't you?
Yeah.
But that was the only little thing I would have said because, and it would have been nice as well because the people on the stools probably wanted to come and listen to the talks. So I know it's difficult, but if there was some way of structuring time slots so everything could sort of stop and go and listen to, I don't know.
Lessons, aren't they?
We've already said that next time we do it, we're going to have a room specific for the talks.
Yeah.
So it keeps everybody away from, so people on, like, say, on the stalls, there's no background noise, people can just come and listen. And we want the community to work together on that. Like, say, for instance, Ant's stall was there, he wants to come listen, someone else say, well, I don't need to, I'll watch your stall for you.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be. We should be working together so everybody benefits from it.
Fantastic.
So that's what we're looking for.
So the name of is it your business called I Am? Or?
It's a group called I Am. We started off with a group called Stand in Your Power because I thought that was very important. If you don't stand in your power, you can't do any processes that we do. Then everybody else was jumping on the bandwagon. I thought, right, that's it, changing it. I'm going to use my name. So we changed it to Empower the Soul. So we thought that's a good one to do. Then people start using that. I thought, do you know what? I'm getting fed up with this. And I was starting to do I Am affirmations because that's something I've always learned to. So do my I Am affirmations every day. Haven't done for a couple of days, but I'm getting back into it. And I just sat there. That's really powerful. Those two words are very powerful. They're the most powerful
words in the world.
I thought, so let's create a group called I Am. So I found a bit in artwork, which this lady I thought put the words across her arms, make it look pretty good. So I did all that, and I thought, I like it.
Yeah.
So we started looking. So we looked at the group, the Empower the Soul group, with over 1,500 members. But when I did the stats on it, maybe 150, 200 max were overactive in it. So I thought, it's not about numbers. It really is not about numbers. It's about individuals.
Yeah.
So I said, right, that group's going to close. My website's going to go down. We're going to create a brand new website, but we'll get the Telegram group up and running first. So literally within, what are we now, nearly 2 weeks, it was gone from 0 to 230
Fantastic.
already.
That's great.
And that's phenomenal.
That's really good.
We thought, okay, even if we get 50, that'll be great because those 50 want to be there. But we look at it now and you'll see 200 plus on there, but there's like 40, 50 active at any point in time. So people are learning.
Yeah.
And it's all about, I'm going to give you all the tools you need. There's all your templates. There's all your research. There's everything you need to know. You go off and do it. Yeah. We're here to guide you. You need help, you shout for an admin. An admin will come and help you.
Fantastic.
And that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to get people to realise and understand that they can do this. They've got the tools inside.
It's powerful. It's powerful. And the thing is as well, especially now, and I do think this year is going to be a massive change and wake-up call to people. But people are looking for answers to so many questions, whether it's the financial debt and the struggles of life, if you like. People are asking more questions about other things, whether it's the pandemic.
Well, the veil is lifting.
Yeah, 100%.
And this is the thing. And so as people are sort of waking up and they're looking for places, and then it's just a matter of finding who you resonate with, what you enjoy, who's sort of ticking the boxes, and you think, you know what, I like him or her, and you know, that kind of thing. And the thing is, there's so many people that there will never be enough communities.
No.
It shouldn't be. It should be about communities. It's about people and experiences and love.
Well, the thing is, it's not always baffles me because I know we have people who are, they love celebrities or the Kardashians, or they'll love the royal family, and I always think, but in reality, really, you're never going to see, or they're never going to play any role.
We're so detached
in
of that.
Your life.
That's not real, is it?
Your local community, your neighbours, your friends, the people who you connect with every day.
Exactly. That's real.
That's do you know what I mean? So where do we see Andy in 5 years? Is there a 5-year plan, or are you sort of just...
No, I'd just go with the now.
So you're just drifting?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to burst your bubble here now.
I knew you would.
Do you know what's wrong with a drifter?
Go on.
You can't drift to the top of a mountain,
No, true.
right?
Yeah.
You've got to have a plan. You've got to have goals. You've got to have ambition. You've got to have attitude.
Yeah, and I interrupt
Right.
on that. My problem with that is, and I think we touched on it before, is I don't feel I'm ready for that.
Well,
I don't think I'm powerful enough to deal
but
with
this
it.
is a good thing because, first of all, what we know is everybody, you, me, all of us, we all have the power. Mm-hmm. You might not have unlocked the power yet, but you have got the power, believe me. So modern day talk is imposter syndrome, okay? But really what it is, it's fear, right? And usually it's fear of change. And you're going through, when I'm speaking to you, you're going through a few years now of massive change. So what's happening is you're coming across stumbling blocks there where you're feeling like I might not be adequate enough or I might not have the skill set. You're more than qualified, by the way, okay? And your energy will see you through any obstacles because if you do things for the right reason, people will overlook. You know what I mean? I would give me someone with the right heart, the right attitude any day of the week. I don't care if you've got less skills than someone else. So what happens is then with imposter syndrome, you're going through these changes, and one of the fears is the fear of success.
Yes.
The fear of becoming somebody. The fear of becoming the top of your craft, right? And a lot of people think, well, I want to lead this movement. I want to do this movement, but I don't want the recognition of being top of this movement, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, without your energy and without your drive, what I always say, if not you, who? Right? Because what if nobody else is going to do it?
Yeah, you're right. You're
and
right.
then let's look at your life another way. On your deathbed, what would be the greatest regret? One that you did it and failed, or one that you never tried?
Never tried.
Okay? So if you ever get to that day and, pearly gates are opening and they go, and you had an opportunity there, but you never give it a go. Do you know what I mean? So I always say to people, what's the worst that can happen, right? Because if you set up a business, right, you say for now, the next couple of years, you said, look, this is my intention. I'm going to set up a business. And then you set up a business. So what you've done then is you've mastered the self.
Yeah.
You are self-mastery in action. Okay. Now, if that business does not work for any reason, that is not failure. And this is what people don't understand. A business cannot not work, if you like, and it might close for any number of reasons. But you self-mastered and you set out to do what you were going to do, which was open the business. Now what you do is you could look at your business and say, this is a learning lesson. I know what I did wrong, and the next time I do it, I'm going to become better.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if we can keep looking at ourselves and say, every step of the journey, I'm going to become better. And then you're getting up that mountain and up that, and then suddenly you're not drifting anymore. Now you're reaching the summit, and now you are the master of yourself, but you're the creator of something amazing.
Yeah, and I suppose it is the fear. I mean, I don't have fear of dealing with so-called authority, people in uniforms. I don't have fear of anything like that, but it's the fear of my own success. I mean, I've been told I am a natural-born leader and I will lead a lot of people. That's what Jane said and that's what Mark said. But again, it's that question, am I good enough?
The self-doubt.
The self-doubt. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, the fact that you're here sharing your story, sharing your experiences, that says to me, you're already rising up, and we talk about rising up and gaining your power back. So even this podcast today, this chat is Andy realising his true power, his true potential. You're rising up, you're gaining knowledge. And also as well, when people are listening in, they're going to be like saying, he talks a lot of sense, him. I understand that he's genuine.
Oh, without doubt.
Do you know what I mean? I respect him. So now suddenly, without you even knowing, you've got people following you.
Yeah.
Well, you have that anyway, and you know that. And you're like me. So we look at ourselves and we go, so someone will go, you've done brilliantly there. And then you go,
thank you. Why?
Yeah. And that's what we do.
Yeah, no,
but really, you know what? You've done brilliantly there. And you'd be like, you know what? I fucking have as well. I have done brilliantly.
Yeah.
The crowd was a success.
Yeah.
There's no two ways around it. I may have lost £20,000 in the process.
Yeah.
But was it a success? Yeah, too right. It was. It brought people together. Well, what you've done is a massive success. You've helped people for the past 2 years.
And I tell you what's another massive thing as well, because obviously we live in our own sort of like bubbles. And Lily, a lady who's sadly passed now, what she said to me, and it resonates true today, is what you've done in the past, and when you've been helping people and reaching out, you don't understand them seeds that you planted and the people that you've reached and helped sometimes. And then what happens is it all grows, and then it comes back, and then you harvest the crop, right? And it all comes back to you. So like this way, like when I used to do like the mediumship and the spiritual stuff, and it was the wrong platform, and I always used to think, what am I doing all this for? And people would say, oh, you've helped me and done this and blah. And at the time, I just thought, I've put all this energy and it's all a waste of time. Fast forward 15 years, and now all the flowers have grown, all the trees have grown, and now you realise what it was all about, all that hard work, all that planting, all that reaching out, all that helping. And then you start to see the results. You know, what you sow, so shall you reap.
Yeah. Look at all the energy that you've been putting into helping people over the past few years. Put it this way, if you needed help, there's going to be 100, 200 people that's going to come back and help you if you needed it.
No, I'm seeing that happen. I mean, when things went wrong with the van and all that.
Exactly.
And the thing is, so like you're already a leader without knowing it.
Yeah, you are a leader.
For the simple reason, if you hold an event, how many people are going to come already? Right? I know we would probably have a stall and come as well.
No, so 100%.
If I have a car parking ticket, I know where to come now. So you're already leading me. If I need to get out my gas and electric, I know where to come. So the thing is, so people get drawn and gravitate towards you anyway. And I think what happens is people get pulled towards the energy. They know you're a good person. They know your intentions are right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You don't get pulled to the smarmy get who's trying to charge you 500 quid and do nothing for you.
No, you know, don't you?
You feel it, don't you? You have to trust your gut.
You know.
And then that's one thing I've been listening to a lot the last 6 months is listening to my gut, and I've pulled away from a lot of people, a lot of groups that just do not resonate with me anymore. And I think 2022 is a filtering system for me. It really filters out a lot of people out of my life.
I think that was part of 2022 for a lot of people. It was like a clearance year.
It's like, let's filter everybody out that you don't need.
I think so. That happened for me. It happened for many people.
I agree. I think it happens on. I mean, you know me. I always base everything, my businesses and everything, on like a pyramid. Right? But what I did was I put everybody in place. So I literally only talk to people I want to talk to. I only are around people I want to be around.
Yeah.
I just don't entertain it. I can't be arsed with it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Sometimes I don't even listen to the missus and kids.
But I just go.
I just zone out.
But you're protecting your energy.
Yeah.
I just, because the thing is as well, and you'll know this as well, a lot of the everyday chatter is pointless. It's just pointless waffle.
Yeah.
It makes no difference.
Well, it's babble.
Exactly.
Is that what it is?
Babble. So the Tower of Babel. Babble.
Right.
That's what they think we do. We just babble.
Babble.
We're irresponsible children. We babble a lot.
Just made a nice cup of tea, and what we've done in the break, I was just asking Andy a couple of questions, and I want to share it with everybody because I find it amazing. I find it scary but amazing because Andy, and outside the offices here, he's got a beautiful big yellow van.
Yeah.
But what he's explaining to me, he literally lives in the van.
Yeah.
And I just said, do you sleep in the van? Where'd you park up? And so tell us a bit about this. I mean, because I would be scared, me. I got to be honest, when I was younger, I spent a fair few nights sleeping in the back of my mate's car because I was homeless, right? But I never used to sleep because I'd be looking out the window every 5 minutes because I thought, you know what I mean? So, come on, how do we end up living in a van?
All right. Well, obviously, as you know, marriage broke up. I went and lived on my own. I quit my job, and obviously, I then couldn't afford to pay the rent or anything, but I was paying it. But then the owner of the house, as I was renting, he said he's selling it. So I went, okay, so they served me Section 21 notice to vacate so they could pass it on to the new bits. Okay, fair enough. But then basically what I do, we'll come into it, is about the promissory note. So I wrote a promissory note out of £500,000 to buy the property, which they never returned. But that's another subject. But yeah, it went through all the possessions of the court possessions and everything else. I went into court. But at this point, I couldn't find anywhere else to live. I went to the council. This is a 3.5-year waiting list. We can put you in a hostel, but you have to sleep on the floor in the reception area, etc. Oh yeah, this is how it is. And I thought, you know what? I don't need that. And I suppose literally just coming to my head now is I had to lose everything to realise what life's all about.
I just lost it there. So you were told you'd have to sleep on the floor. Are we talking about the same Great Britain, what everybody refers to?
Kingdom.
The United Kingdom. The United Kingdom.
There's nothing great about this country.
Yeah, can we take out the great and replace it with corrupt?
Yeah, well, it is.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But do you know what? I mean, we have got a big problem in this country with homelessness, people on the streets.
Problem.
People don't realise the backlog.
Massive.
And this is where a lot of anger and frustration comes from, like with immigration and everything else, because our own people... but we shouldn't even be looking at it like that, really. I mean, there should be enough for everybody.
You can guarantee all that's designed, because ultimately what they'll do is...
Clergy plan.
Well, they want digital ID, don't they? So you'll get enough anger where people will just go... People need to be identified. These people need to go.
Yeah.
We voted Brexit. Get them out.
Yeah.
You know,
they want
the ID. They want the digital ID.
Let's scare the shit out of everyone.
Exactly. It's about fear.
Then come up with a fantastic solution of how we can get out of it, and then everyone will accept it willingly.
Solution will that be?
But anyway, sorry, I'm interrupting.
Help us.
Yeah. You're very ungrateful of you. You decided not to sleep on a reception floor.
How terrible.
A bit of a snob.
In Great Britain. I've got standards, you know.
If they'd have put a potted plant there, it would have been fine.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, I mean, another healer I was friendly with, Karen, she said to me, I can see you being mobile, she says, and she helped me. She gifted me the van.
Wow.
There's a manifestation,
but
isn't
I will
it?
say, I've always said to her, I will pay her back as and when I got the money. And she's always said, don't worry, abundance will come when it's ready. So, I thought, okay, let's try it. Yeah. So I did. And I love it. I gave all my furniture away. I've still got some bits to give away, but it's just at the end of the day for me, it is a space that is my own. It's when I shut that door. Yeah, I mean, you could be worried about people breaking in, whatever, and there have been lots of evidence of that happening at the moment. People are having their vans broken into. But for me, it's just a question of I know I'm protected. If that makes sense, I know I'm being watched over and I'm okay.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's weird because you wake up in the morning and you sort of it's cold, stick the heater on, then wait for the kettle to go on. But it's just for me, it has given me a new sense of purpose. I mean, I see people struggling every single day, and I know now I'm mobile. I can get out to people better.
That's beautiful.
It's just a healing bus for me. I just think I can go anywhere and do whatever I need.
That's a fantastic attitude.
And not only that, you could wake up in any beautiful. You could have whatever picture view you want in the morning, if you really want it, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. Just come around to put clothes on.
Otherwise that's a picture people don't want to see.
Yeah.
Carry on, Phil.
So, I mean, I don't want to dig too much into people's personal lives. So, obviously, if you're living in a van and driving around, because what normally happens in this country, if you've got no fixed address, it's hard to get any support or help. Mm-hmm. So, are you currently there's nothing available to you? Or are you not getting any support or help?
I'm on the housing list. I keep applying for things, but I come bottom of the list at the moment.
Why? Because you're a white male?
We could go down that road, but when I said to her, I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll go across to Calais, jump on a bloody dinghy, and I'll get what I want then. And she said, well, that's not how it works. I said, well, actually it does. I said, because they get more property than we do. Mm-hmm. I said, so we're not being looked after. That's another story.
Yeah.
But for me, it's just a question of, do you know what? I don't need the trappings of a house.
Yeah.
I don't need it.
Stripped it all back.
But I mean, what I was thinking of, I mean, so like everybody at some point, obviously, we live in a Western society where if you've not got bills to pay, but you still need to eat, you still need certain essentials, and you look good, you look fit, you look healthy. So obviously, something's right. And I've not seen that many berries on the trees lately, so I take it you're not nicking the local the local farmers' peaches.
No, it's very clever when we heard about all this nonsense going on. People said, you got to prep, you got to store stuff. So I've got lots of tin food everywhere. So I'm not going to go hungry.
I love The Walking Dead.
Good series. The whole world's on that one.
Oh, I was just talking about London, sorry.
Oh, okay.
No, it's a good prepping.
Yeah.
So you're living in the van, you're having fun. You're still reaching out, which is fantastic. So I take it you got good internet.
Yeah, I got a 4G aerial on the van. So basically, it's got a SIM card in it, and all that does, it just circulates, finds the best 4G signal.
So you're setting up all these events and everything else from
yeah, and also
working from home.
Yeah, and also I mean, obviously, where I'm in Andover, there's a lovely coffee shop, and I go in there. They give me a discount on my coffee and everything now, which is nice. Sure, so I'm a regular customer, and I just sit there, and in the mornings I just do my work, use their internet because it's faster than what I've got in the van. But it's amazing. I mean, I'll do my YouTubes and everything, my videos I do from the van. It's not a problem.
Fair play to you.
So it's just a nice way of getting out to people if I can.
Yeah.
I think it's a lovely way of living.
So what about on the, just separate again, what about on the romance side? Anything there?
Yes.
Yeah? Sharing in the van?
When the vans goes rocking,
don't come and knock.
When the vans are rocking.
Well, actually, if you'd have been down Dainbury Hill for with the Gale Force winds the last couple of nights, you'd think, crikey, he's at it again. But no. I met a lovely lady called Jen Frost. We met in January last year at Lee, in Lee. Yeah. In Lee, that makes sense. We've had a bit of a rocky relationship to start off with, but I now realise she's been brought into my life to kick me up the spiritual arse. Yeah. She's a fiery character. I'm going to be in trouble if she hears this now.
She's going to listen. I know she's going to listen.
No, please don't put it on Facebook. No, she's a fiery character, but she's completely different to my last partner. So she will react. Yeah. And I've never had that. So what she's done is she's brought me out my shell. I mean, nice. I'm not going to talk what's happened between us because that's not fair. No.
I mean, what I wanted to sort of get was because basically when you've had all the shit, what it is nice to see then is that to show to people the happiness does come back. Little bits at a time.
You are abundant.
We are. I'm not going to lie, we're still working on a relationship. We've had lots of ups and downs. We really have, but we're still there. We're still working on it together. Yeah. And we know at the end of the day that when we are together, we're meant to be there. If that makes sense. No. It just feels right. When I got there last night, 10:30 last night, got back to her. I hadn't seen her since, second week in December, because obviously the van broke down, I couldn't get back up. I could have got a train, but I'm not going to train. But yeah, it just felt right. Do you know what I mean? It just felt we were just there.
Good. No, it's good. Good. It's good to have little bits of happiness while you're building the steps to get your life back.
And she's a bit of a driving force behind me. I mean, you've seen what she posts on Facebook for me.
But sometimes you need that. Amazing. You need that. You need an opposite to really push you and to, if you're feeling down, give you a kick up your arse.
There needs to be that balance as well, and
she has. I mean, the conversations we've had, but when I was thinking, oh, crikey, it's just like, do you know what I mean? I was thinking, why am I going through this? But it's made me realise that it's because she's there to help. She's there to guide. She's come into my life as a teacher as well.
There is purpose to everything, I think.
Yeah.
Now, I know you've got a few things you wanted to mention and ask about.
100%. I mean, now the thing is, right, Andy, so you came and did two talks at the Crown. I missed them both because I was working and it was busy.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, your fault.
I'm more confused that he reckons he was working. I've never seen him work in his fucking life.
And you never will.
You don't get muscles like that by working.
There's only muscles on the right hand.
This is going downhill fast.
So I've had the two talks that you did at the Crown, and you did Lee, obviously, you've done Carry On, and I've missed all of them. Okay, so
thanks for the support.
Can you give a synopsis, a brief overview of the sort of what you would tell the audience in terms of how to empower themselves, what normally do you go through?
Wow. How long we got?
As long as you want. I know, I'm not expecting you to spend all day on it, but...
No, I've got a roast to go home to. Once I got the veg. No, for me, it's... I've done. If I'm going to go back to basics, and I'm going to say exactly what I've done because people need to understand what I've done. I've done multiple processes where people say, reclaim your sovereignty, do this piece of paper, send this to the Queen, send this here, send that. But I've seen no evidence it actually works. And I was teaching people this, but it never felt right to do it, if that makes sense. But just at that time, I thought, yeah, people need to jump on. People need to. I was clamoring for love and attention. I thought, yeah, well, come on, like me, because that's part of my things I always suffered with. But then as 2021, 2022 started working together, I thought, oh, do you know what? This is something that's not quite right. I did meet a wonderful man called Woody. We don't communicate much anymore for various reasons. I'm not going to go down the road of. But he taught me a lot more about myself and understanding how everything out there is simple if you want it to be simple. So I thought, okay, let me do a little bit of research. Then I tapped into the likes of Cal Washington, Bill Turner in New Zealand, the wonderful characters who was in the sovereignty movement, Dave Armstrong, etc. And I was listening to them and I thought, yeah, these guys out there have got it right. It suddenly went bing, 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 the alarm bells were going in the head. I thought, this is right. So I took everything I did, threw it in the bin. And I thought, I don't need that anymore.
Brave, yeah.
Yeah, and then I saw, actually, I might need that one. But it's from that point on, then, okay, so what are we? From when I did the Bufo, that's when it awakened me more to the spiritual sense. It took away a lot of negativity and worry. I thought, we're all being driven by fear, anxiety, dumb you down, do this. And that for me was where I went, as we all know, the rabbit holes. But then I thought, hang on a minute. Why are people still in fear? What's going on? We know there's a movement. People know there's a movement, but what's going wrong? And it's because of the name. The name you were given at birth. Okay. That's it. Simple as that.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
So if people say to me, what's your name? I say, it's Andy. No, what's your full name? Don't have one. I only have one if I'm dealing with in the public. I deal in the private. So if we go back to that, you were born into the private. Okay, so you're given unalienable rights to everything on this planet, this realm, whatever you want to call it. It's yours. But don't be greedy. Just take what you need and share with others. It's all in scripture. I'm not religious. Please don't think I am in a certain way, but I don't go to church or anything like that. But the Bible is a book on commerce. It tells you how to live your life. Okay. So that's when I realised, I thought, okay, let's read a bit more into this. I thought, okay, so how did we get here? We were created. So we're energy souls, we're energy balls, whatever you want to call it, but we were created. And in scripture, it states that man must only serve one master. And that is your creator, God, whatever you believe in. So we were created, and then you had man and woman. Okay. And then man and woman many years ago created government. Now, government were forsworn to protect the people. But government, if you break it down from the Latin translation, gubernum mens, means mind control. So we created our own mind control company. Yeah. They then went and created persons. Okay. Now, a person is dead. A person is a corporation. It's a business. Okay. So when you're born free. Yeah, you all heard that. There's even a TV series, Born Free, or whatever, with lies. So everything's in plain sight. So you're born free. So at the time of birth, 3 documents are created. So you get created a crown document, nothing to see here, goes around the back, but it's starting to build up what's called a trust. And you're talking about pyramids, which is basically a trust. And then they give the certificate of live birth. Or the registration of live birth. Little baby doe is born alive or stillborn. If they're stillborn, they still take your money. This is where it all comes in. It's all money driven. Okay. So if we went further back, go back to 1666, look up the set of
666 again.
Yeah, amazing. Apparently they put a 1 before it shouldn't have had. They put 1,000 years onto our calendar. Sorry if I'm blowing your mind yet. Anyway. So 1666, allegedly, because I see no evidence, I wasn't there, Greggs the baker set fire to a sausage roll and burnt London down. That's where I look at it. Just destroy the records. So men and women that were suddenly born on the land were lost at sea because they started to bring maritime law onto the land. Common law is natural law, God's law. Cause no harm, cause no loss. Simple as that. To fellow man or woman. That makes sense. Yeah, and that's how you should live your life. Yeah. But maritime law is acts, statutes and legislation. So a ship's captain will have orders and has to follow certain statutes, etc. So they brought maritime law onto the land, and the Pope wanted to have 3 crowns: own your mind, body, soul. Fast forward, to birth certificates. So when they're born, crown document, live birth certificate, and then they say to you, we want you to be very good parents. Please go and register your child or your children. 2 words you should never use: parent and children. They're government owned. Think of it this way: parent, and there's a good book you can get called Word Magic by Pao Chang. Very, very good book. He's deciphered lots of things. But it's the etymology of words. So parent means you're renting back, the parent, your young one. Yeah. Children, if you look at the etymology of children, chill and ren is cold individual.
Oh, right. Wow.
Yeah, and it's a statutory term that the government involved.
I knew this was going to be good. I did good. Crack on.
Just phone Jen to do the rest of tomorrow.
we'll just lean back and just enjoy this beauty.
Now, obviously, like I say, if you want to do your own research, go and look at it. With the birth certificate stuff, there's a guy called Martin Ansell based down on the south coast of England. Mm-hmm. Linked with him, the guy's done a lot of research. Amazing guy. When you look at how they say it, so you've got the crown document comes into the live birth certificate, and then they tell you, be good parents, go and register your child. Now, register means the crown owns it. So anytime you register something, Corona. You don't own it. Sorry?
Corona.
I used to get that lemonade as a kid, and the cherry, eh?
I'm still at birth certificate.
So basically, the birth certificate is a death receipt. Yeah. Okay. So what else does the woman give birth to at the time of birth? Not just the young one. She also gives birth to something else, doesn't she?
The placenta.
That's it, which is classed in their world, and I class they as the cabal, whatever you want to call them, as the twin. Yeah. So when you create the birth certificate, you're not registering the birth. And think of the maritime law: a ship comes into harbour and is birthed, okay, and on board of that is cargo. Yeah. So the woman is classed as the vessel.
Is that why ships are always called she?
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah. That's 100%.
Right. Yeah. So the woman is classed as the cargo vessel, and then the young one that comes out is the cargo manifest. So their certificate, birth certificate, is a cargo manifest. That's also a death receipt for the placenta, because the placenta passes away, and they create a straw man. Don't know if you've heard that terminology before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watch The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
The straw man is created from the birth certificate.
Which is why he wanted a birth certificate.
Exactly. So therefore, the straw man is a dead entity. It's a corporation. It's a business. Now, you also get your national insurance number the moment you're born, not when you're 16. Don't feel that bullshit. So this is all building up a trust. So the birth certificate is actually like a stock or a bond, and then it's traded on through stock markets. So your name, my name, Andrew Sean Barlow, is not mine. It can never be mine. I can never own it. It is crown copyright. Because the minute it is registered, the crown, we're not talking about the Queen, the crown of the world, owns that name.
But who's clever enough to come up with all this?
Vatican.
Yeah, it's all Jesuit stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you want to go down that road?
Yeah, we do.
The Jesuits own everything.
Everything. The Jesuits own everything. Everything.
I thought the Kardashians owned it.
Yeah, but they are the Jesuits.
Right.
Go on.
Oh my word, this is gonna be good.
Yeah. I need another cup of tea. Tell me more.
Oh dear. So you get confused.
I need to know.
Yeah.
It's great knowledge. Knowledge is power.
So the birth certificate enslaves you. So they say slavery's dead. No, it isn't. You're a debt slave. Mm-hmm. From the moment once you have that certificate registered, it allows you, it's like a death receipt, but it allows you to play in their game. Okay? You've all seen the films like Hunger Games, Divergent, all that. Everything's in plain sight. Everything. If you want to know how the straw man came about, watch The Wizard of Oz. It's all in there. The deciphering of it is phenomenal. Wizard of Ounces. Babies are weighed in pounds and ounces. You've heard the terminology, you're worth your weight in gold. Yeah, that was how the church used to do it. Thank you very much. Here's some money for your young one to look after it. Colonel Gaddafi was doing that. They took him out. The only country that's still doing that at the moment is North Korea. Everybody gets everything for free. So that's a real bad country to go to.
Really?
Yeah.
Can I just ask you, right now? So you know this like information, what you'd like. So right. So is that now people deciphering and digging out, or is that them, the Vatican, or whatever you want to say, rubbing like shit in your face?
People doing a lot of work on it. I mean, L. Frank Baum, who wrote Wizard of Oz, actually deciphered the Wizard of Oz for everyone.
So you've got basically your everyday folk who are waking up to what's going on to us, and they're trying to share it with the world to try and say, "Wake up!
Yeah.
Wake up! Dorothy's coming with her shoes." Anyway, what's go?
She always had the power.
She always had the power. I think at the end,
I gotta be honest, my missus, her, when she clicks her heels together, I fucking jump. I do as I'm told. But go on. Anyway, so because this is what I want to. So not everybody's bad. There's this big whatever organisation who have come up with all this powerful shit, but there is people who are trying to wake everyone up and tell it, Well,
so when you think, if you talk about the Jesuit order, if you look into the history of the Jesuit order, and this may sound, and I apologise, but the Jews run everything.
I didn't. I did that the other day. See, no, the thing is, so say, like someone who's thick like me, right? Let's be honest. So, like, when someone says something like that, suddenly I'm get anti-Semitism. You can't talk about anybody else. You can't do whoa, you know, that kind of thing. Now, but I'm also a big thing of like, look, if there's some facts and there's some truth, then it needs to be.
What's wrong with discussing? There's no racism going on. This is a discussion.
I know, but I mean, that's what I like. Listen, you don't want to upset or offend anyone.
We're not offending anyone.
Do you know what I mean? So, but
the thing is,
but if that is the truth.
It's researchable.
Oh yeah.
Then the truth has to come in.
You can go to the black nobility and then you follow it through, don't you?
Exactly. There's so much out there people can research.
See, my level of power stops at Barclays. You know what I mean? when I can't get 50 quid out of the cash point machine, I'm thinking, we know
where that's going, don't we?
On the slots. On Wolves to beat West Ham. But come on, let's get back into what's it called. So because the bottom line is, if this is the pyramid of power, that's the truth. If that's the truth, that's the truth.
You've got three centres of evil in the world. You've got the Vatican, which is a foreign country on Italian soil. You've got Washington DC, foreign country on American soil.
Sorry to interrupt while we're in this point.
Yeah.
So Venice being on water, are we talking Venetian? Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. And then obviously you've got the city of London, which is a foreign country on English soil.
Yeah.
It's got its own police force, everything.
The Vatican, Washington, and London are three really top powers.
Powerful. Yeah. The City of London is very powerful.
Yeah, City of London is the financial centre. America is the military, and the Vatican is just evil.
So we have all that power, and we end up with a buthoon like Boris.
Oh,
no, they're places.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Crack up.
Very clever.
We've got the by Richie now.
Oh, sorry.
I voted for him.
And then you woke up.
I woke up after that. Let's get that point. So the birth certificate actually puts you into slavery, and they tell you you're attached. That's your name, but you don't have any. As far as I'm aware, spirit has no name.
Yes, true.
So
I agree.
We're nameless. So you can call yourself whatever you like when you realise you are the living man and woman. But what they do is, and I've heard people say, they stole our rights from us and everything. No one's stolen your rights from you at all. You've given it away freely. You really have. Because when you're born, everything out there is yours. Gas, oil, whatever, it's all yours. You use what you want, but don't be greedy, share with others. But then you got the private where you got all that, and then you got the public, which is benefits and privileges. So they come along and say, oh, we'd like to offer you a credit card, or we'd like to offer you a passport and all this lot, but they're not yours. They can never be. The passport's not yours. The bank account's not yours. Your driver's license is not yours. Nothing's yours because you register it or you apply for something. When you apply for something, apply in legalese, which is their necromancer book that they use for courts, means to beg. Who begs? Slaves. And then you press the submit button. So you're submitting to them. This is how they enslave you even more. And your signature...
It's the power of words again, though, isn't it?
The signature is power. Your signature is very powerful. Why does it always ask you to sign in a box? Sorry, in a box. Why do they ask you to sign in that?
No, I don't know.
It's a coffin.
A trap.
It's a coffin.
Yeah.
You're signing the legal fiction, the corporation that it's from, into the coffin. So therefore it's sealed, and they can use that signature to go and monetize your signature. If you think about it, when you sign something, where do they check your signature? The banks. Make sure your signature's current. So therefore they'll keep checking it, saying, is this signature authorised? No, it's the wrong signature. Sometimes things come back. They don't recognise your signature. And I've seen that when I've tried to change my signature from X to Y. But you've got to detach yourself from the name. You keep the name because it's in the public. So people say, yeah, but what about my birth certificate? It's mine. No, it's not. It's registered to the Crown. The name is registered to the Crown. Your passport, your driving licence, your bank account, it's not yours. None of it, because you apply for it, you beg for it. So men and women are supposed to deal with substance. We're supposed to deal with energy exchanges. We're supposed to deal with gold and silver. Swapping and going to Ant, could you use some Reiki? Here's a silver coin. Or, I'll help you with this debt, whatever. So that's how it should
energy
be worked.
Exchange, yeah.
Energy exchange. Yeah. But we're trapped into the fiat currency, the fake currency. There is no such thing as money. Money does not exist. It's all promises to pay.
Yeah, they're all promissory notes, aren't they?
Yeah. So when, I mean, at the moment there's two sides to everything. So at the moment we're saying this Washington, the Vatican, London, blah blah blah. So we're classing this as sort of bad or an evil, if you like. Yeah, are we agreeing in that?
Controlled.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they'll
have their own reasons. Our perception is it's all bad. I mean, they could be the best thing ever for us. They might be helping us. I don't know. Right? I'm just But when did this come about?
Wow. If we're looking back in history, before 1666, 1302, Unum Sanctum, the Pope decided he wanted to become the richest man in the world, so he took control of everything.
But in the bigger scale of things, so it's not that long ago.
No, but if you go further back, we're talking thousands of years.
So we are going back thousands of years. So we're talking about kings, queens, rulers.
I mean, the only thing the last constitutional monarch was Queen Elizabeth I. Okay. She's the only one that had the bloodline. And everyone else has been placed. Everyone else has been placed in position.
Yeah, they've not got the proper.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, if you want to understand what's going on in the world today about this mass immigration, then read the Clergy Plan, read the Barcelona Declaration, the Nice Treaty. You'll see for yourself what it's all about. This is the great replacement. It's replacing all white people, excuse me, I don't mean to be racist at all, with another race. So that's easily controlled. The Clergy Plan states it. And that's out in public eye now. All this information is now being drip fed to people to make them understand that stuff is happening.
I've just noticed. Well, I've not just noticed. I noticed you say "in a stand" a lot. Could you go into detail? Because there are certain words like I know from my own, and I don't get it that much, but it's stuff that I really want to learn. Mm-hmm. So things like "good morning," for example. Okay, yeah, and even I don't know. There's many words that have been infiltrated, if you like, or twisted. Could you give us something?
There's two languages. You've got legalese and you've got English.
Okay.
So legalese is the language of them. That's what they use against you in court. So they use a different language. And then you've obviously got the Oxford English Dictionary, which is the English language.
Okay.
Now, the English language is the most corrupted language in the world. We've got a demigod built into it. A-E-I-O-U. A-U is a demigod. But they put those, is it vowels? I always get it wrong. Yeah, vowels into the English language. So every time you create a word, you're actually creting a spelling.
I just say what's cool, because I know you said there's two languages there. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm wondering if you've ever been to the Black Country. No, because I'm telling you, I'm telling you now, when they start talking, where Miss Joe Harkin and all that, that's a good language all on its own.
Sounds wicked.
But think of but when they go into the words, they're always changing the words around. They're changing the meanings of it. There's you can go onto etymology online and just type in a word and see what comes back as the actual meaning of it. Right. So I look as the legalese, or they use a book called Black's Law Dictionary. And there's multiple versions. Version 4 and version 6, in my opinion, are the best ones because there's still lots of information there. The later ones, they've taken a lot of stuff out. But it shows you words in there, things like the word human. People say we got human rights. Well, I don't have any human rights because I'm not a human. I'm a man. Okay, human is two words. It's hue and man, colour of man. So it can never be man or woman. Mm. Yeah?
Interesting.
And in Black's Law, human is classed as monster. So they look at us as monsters.
Wow.
What the fuck?
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Like I say, Black's Law version 4, go and have a look. Look in there. It comes as a PDF. I'll send you all the PDFs. Type it in, human, and it tells you what it is.
You're going to need a bigger van. I'm not joking. This is some serious shit.
It's massive.
This is what I do. This is why I let people know what's going on. But they got to understand that even though having all that knowledge there about what happened in the past or what happened here, I say what happens now is the most important thing. You got to detach from that name. You are not that name. So when you get a letter coming through the door and it could be the deck place. Where me, when I used to get, I still get it because I got what care of addresses. So like you said, no fixed abode or whatever. I have care of addresses. So people can still find me, but they can never serve me a warrant because they don't know where I'm going to be. So I'm playing their game, I'm playing their system.
So just quickly, just off topic a little bit there. So like say we've got, because you've talked about there, America, Britain, the Vatican, Italy, yeah? But what about other cultures and countries and everything? Is there a similar thing going on?
100%. It happens all over the world.
So even like, say, China, Japan, they'll have their own version of this by whatever.
A lot of the paperwork we do is Commonwealth based, so Commonwealth countries for your effects, but there are, you got Cal Washington in Canada doing stuff for other countries. You've got the guys in Australia doing stuff for other countries because it is transferable. Yeah.
It's huge, isn't it? It's absolutely huge.
It's just ace.
It is. It's fascinating
so
stuff.
Go back to your word.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning, yeah.
What does morning mean?
Well, when you're at a funeral, you're mourning.
You're having a good
morning.
You're at awake. So
awake.
When you say, oh, are you awake? Well, hang on. Are you at a funeral? Awake.
Inverted, eh?
Exactly. Everything's inverted. It's like
purposely done.
Yeah, of course it is. It's to trick us, to create spells. It's all occult. It's all dark magic, whatever you want. That's why I look at the Black's Law as the necromancy book. It's the language of the dead. So that's the necromancy. The Oxford English Dictionary is technically the language of the living. So if you ever go into court, there's a guy called Gary Fraun said this, and I know it happens. You go into a court, you take a copy of the Black's Law and take a copy of the Oxford English Dictionary, and you say, which language are we speaking today? Are we speaking the Black's Law or are we speaking English? And like he says, you see how quick they want you out of that court because you suddenly realise you're in their jurisdiction, but you're taking control. You'll become the captain of your ship. Because remember, you go into court, you go into the dock.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Everything's maritime based. And they always say, all rise. Why? Because they want to raise the dead. You stay seated, you're declaring, I'm alive. Bring it on. Do you know what I mean? This is how they trick us.
But it takes bravery because once you've got the knowledge, I suppose, but then you've got to be brave enough to go through
So, like legal people who have gone through the system and have learned, like, solicitors and lawyers, do they know all this?
The majority of them I'd say no.
So they just learn what they need to do.
The higher echelons of the bar, because they all sign up to the bar. I can't remember what the terminology is of that. But if you look into Wizard of Oz, the flying monkeys were solicitors and barristers. They're just salespeople for the rich. They were going to take money off you. So they'll say, yeah, I'll represent you. Represent? How can you represent me? You need to present me. Represent means you're representing something that's not there. It's like when you look in a mirror and you look at your reflection, is that you? No, it's not. How can a reflection be the living man? It can never be. It's as a representation of you. You know what I mean?
Mind blowing, eh? But again, this is everything we're programmed and conditioned with. And it's about unlearning again. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's so much to unlearn to get your power back. This is about getting your power. So
what do the other characters? So I take it they all mean something. So
yeah, well,
give us a lesson on the Wizard of Oz.
Bloody hell! Put me on the spot. So you've got Wisdom Ounces. You've got the Follow Yellow Brick Road, which used to be gold ingots in the original movie, which is Follow the Money. You've got Toto all together in together. He pulled back the curtain on the wizard and revealed the court was a fraud.
Hero, isn't he?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You had the straw man who wanted, I can't remember what the straw man wanted. He wanted a heart or something, wasn't it?
The Tin Man wanted the heart.
Tin Man wanted the heart. So
the straw man wanted to. He wanted.
Did he want a brain? He wanted a brain.
Yeah.
He wanted a brain.
Yeah, that's it. So the straw man wanted the brain, but he got a certificate. Yeah. You got the tin Man, which is tax identification number. Okay. And then you had the Cowardly Lion, which represented the chief solicitors, who were the bullies. Yeah, come on, bring it on. But they always back down at the last minute. And he got a medal, didn't he, and a certificate.
That's right, yeah.
You got obviously the Flying Monkeys, which were deciphered as the barristers and solicitors. You've got the Black Witch, or Dark Witch, wherever she was, which represented the bankers of the New World Order. This was in the 1930s, the talking of it. Mm-hmm. Then you had the White Witch. I mean, there's other bits of it. You had the poppy fields where they fell asleep, showing that the crown runs the drug cartels. You had the Emerald City, which represented the Federal Reserve that was taken down in 1932, 33, or somewhere around there. So they're telling you all there. And then you had the White Witch, or the good one, who I class as your consciousness. And I think she said, you've always had the power. You just needed a mind, body, heart, and soul to realise it.
Hey, beautiful.
Yeah, and then she went. But if you think of another film, there's another one. It's even easier than to think of Labyrinth with Jennifer Connelly and David Bowie.
Oh, I love that film.
At the end, she says, "You have no power over me," and everything just melted away because he had no authority over her. Think of the word authority. Break it down. Take away the ITY. What have you got? Author. So you are the author of your own laws. You create your own laws as the living man and woman. As long as you're not creating harm or loss, fraud or anything like that, you get on with your life. But under the other one, as the person, the name, you follow what's colour of law called acts, statutes and legislation. So you think in the UK there's about 9.8 million acts, statutes and legislation. They're always coming up with something new. Oh, you can't do this, you can't do this. Really? But you look in the acts, they always refer to the word person. You look in your employment contracts, it states person. I'm not a person, I'm a man. So make an offer back. So I'll change that, please. I'll change my working hours, change my salary, change this. So an act, statute and legislation only affects the name, not the living man or woman. But only if you joined to the name. So say, for instance, the police pulled me up and said, we need your name. And it's, what's your name? And I stupidly went, it's Andrew Sean Barlow. I've now created contract with the police. Yeah. So they've now got access to my name. They can make money out of me. Because the police are corporations. They're businesses.
It's all business, yeah.
Every country in the world is registered as a corporation.
As an individual that's then born, and there's a pocket full of money, I presume, somewhere for each individual that they can tap into.
Yeah, I don't know where that is stored. I'm not going to lie.
But who decides how much money a person is going to get them?
There was a calculation I saw.
Is it like, you wait?
Not used for me, is it?
It's something like... they break the calculation down by the population of the country multiplied by something by something. There's a calculation, I can't remember what's on it, but that's how they work out the value of a baby. So if you've got a small country and the value is very high in the country, then that baby could be worth 1.6 million when they're born. So that 1.6 million goes into the stock market or shares and bonds, whatever, and that's traded on. And that's what it is. It's just
so therefore, really, in terms of like people's individual debt. So for example, they owe credit cards, this, that, and the other. That money's already. In fact, they don't owe anything, do they? Because the money's already there under their name.
Yeah. I mean, you think of it. I mean, think of it.
So you're borrowing your own money.
You're paying back in interest.
You're paying debt with debt. How can you pay debt with debt? You can't. When I challenged the council, I sent a promissory note. We'll talk about it in a second. I sent a promissory note to pay off my council tax. They said, sorry, we don't accept this. It's not legal tender. I went, according to the Bill of Exchange Act, 1882, Section 4, Lord Denning's case was like, I said, where's your exemption? So you can't accept promissory notes. They said, we want legal tender. I said, well, what's legal tender? Great Britain pounds, GBP sterling. I said, well, prove to me that's not legal. That's not a debt.
So what happens, wow. an everyday Joe like me, right? And so like I'm listening to this now, and I think, I'll be a bit of a smart ass. I'll go down to my local council office and start repeating what you said. Well, what's them to stop them then saying, stop being a smart ass and you don't know what you're on about? Fuck off, kind of thing.
Who do you think that Doris or Steve in the council office will know all this?
But that's what I'm saying. I don't know if they wouldn't take you seriously.
When we do all this, when we do the documentation we send out, we always send it to the CEO or CFO because they're the ones who placed in power. They're the ones who placed in position CEOs, unless it's a small company where they've worked their way through. But the majority of big corporations, you can have a new CEO has been appointed. Okay? So they get put in position. But they know this. Boris Johnson, all that lot, when they were at Eton or wherever, they learned all about Bill of Exchange Act, the Birth Marriage Act, they learned about the abolition of slavery. They learned this before the age of 12.
What do you think the reaction would be if suddenly, like, let's say someone comes up against you, right, and you start throwing all this in? What's the reaction going to be then? Like, phone the police or, hey, shut him up and just give him what he wants? Well, what's the reaction? Because, like, if you sort of basically you're saying, I know my shit. At
the moment, we see a lot of pushback from them because this is an argument I've had, and I may be wrong, but I'm saying it as I see it, is we've had too many groups in the public eye putting so much out into the public domain that it's like picking up the phone to your enemy and saying, just so you know, we're landing on the beaches at 3:00 on Sunday, we'll see you there. It's like giving them the information, and things are now we're struggling to make things work. I'm not going to lie about that. But the fact that all my stuff is private, it's not splashed all over the internet, is we're having multiple successes because we're not telling people, do this, do this, do this, do this. We're saying people, think before you act. Do you want to go down the road? There's an action, every action has a consequence. So if you're going down there and you say, well, I'm going to challenge my mortgage, well, guess what? They're going to let you challenge it, but they're going to put a black mark against your name on your credit file. And if you need to remortgage or refinance, you're going to have a black mark against you, and they're not going to let you do it. This is their system.
Yeah.
Their system, in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, is perfect because they give you every opportunity to deal with everything that comes through your door. Every opportunity. They give you three attempts. Oh, hang on, power of 3. That was in scripture where Peter got tested 3 times. Everything's a power of 3. Think about it. Think about the numbers. Look at Tesla when he said 369. It's the keys to the universe.
Yeah.
Think of the numbers they use, 666. And then they start saying the Earth spins at 66,667.
Isn't that convenient?
Really?
That's convenient, isn't it?
It's all
why
numbers.
Freemasons are all threes?
Yeah, it's all power of 3. So when you think in a system, you get a debt come through the door and you ignore it, they'll send you a reminder. And then they'll send you a final reminder before further action. So they're giving you every opportunity to deal with it. If you ignore it, okay, there's 4 ways of handling a contract, let's put it that way. You have 2 honourable, 2 dishonourable. The first honourable one is, Kev, here's your new contract. I'm docking your wages £1,000 a month. You go, oh yeah, thanks for that. I'll have that. Full acceptance, happy with, just go with it. The second one comes, he says, same thing to you. Yeah, I'm happy with that, but I have questions. You want to negotiate. You want to ask questions. Yeah? The third one is a dishonourable one, and so is the fourth one. Silence. Now, that's where I've been a lot of time in my journey doing this. Now, I always say to people, I've failed a lot before I had the success. Silence is what's classed as acquiescence. It's an unconscious agreement to their terms and conditions.
Is that when people don't deal with something?
Yeah,
they just keep hiding from?
You put it in the drawer,
yeah,
expect the unicorns to fart over it and the pixies to take it away.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
No.
So silence is an unconscious agreement to their terms and conditions. If you don't speak, I think the scripture states, if you have no voice, they will speak for you.
All right, okay.
Yeah. The fourth one is no. Just plain, no, I'm not doing it. A refusal. That's classed as belligerence, arrogance, whatever to them.
Yeah.
They go, right, okay, you got nothing else to offer us. So therefore, you've accepted our terms. So you got 3 there, 1 honourable, 2 dishonourable, which is acceptance of contract. Either way, you're going to struggle with it. If you go to the negotiation phase, well, thank you very much. Yes, I really would like to pay you £2,000, but can you please answer these questions for me, please? And I will gladly pay your bill. So when I challenge the water, gas, electric, you claim to generate electric. Show me the proof. Show me the evidence you actually create electricity. Simple question. Do you know what I mean? You claim to provide water. Are you not defrauding people because you're putting something in water? If this was a glass of water and I put orange juice in it, is it still water? No. Its molecular structure has changed. So how can they claim they're providing you with water?
And it's full of fluoride.
It's full of crap.
Else.
They're not. So you say, I'm happy to pay for water, but I'm not happy to pay for chemically induced water. So when you change the water back to its normal pure state, I'll pay your bill. These are simple solutions I come up with, and I'll try and test them.
Whoa.
But it's playing their game.
Yeah.
Everything
That's
they
really
do
good,
to you, there is remedy. There has to be remedy. Look through the legislation. How many people have had a parking ticket? By the way, listeners, I'm dealing with about 7 at the moment because I will go out and deliberately get tickets purely to test my processes. But there's one where you get AMPR ones. You picture of a car going in, picture of a car coming out. Well, that's not evidence you parked there. So where's the evidence you parked there? So that's the question I'm now asking them. You've sent a picture of what looks like an image. An image is fake because it can be photoshopped, whatever. But you showed a picture of a car coming in and going out.
But does it not have like a timestamp on it?
Yeah, but that's not my car. How can that be my car? Look at the size of it, that big one. Look at the size of the one I got out there. that's not my van. It's not my van. My van's out there. How can that be my van? That's just a representation. Again, it's not the
So
van.
it's just the words.
It's the words you use against them. Like, understand the question. Going back to we'll get there.
No. This is great.
No, understand. It's down to under Black's law, if you say you understand, it means you stand under them.
Stand under them.
So when the police say, do you understand me? You go, yes.
You're in contract then, aren't you?
They got their foot on your neck.
Yeah. Do you know, I've had that done when I was a kid. No, I didn't actually. I got arrested and they threw me in the van and I said, can I sit on the seat? And she went, no, you can stay down there. And she put her foot on my face. But anyway, that's another story.
So I always use inner stand because I stand inside myself.
Right.
So that's me. But you can use another word against them, which is overstand. So you stand over them.
Oh.
So a police officer said to me, do you understand? And I went, no, but I overstand.
Yeah.
Like it.
I've had run-ins with the police.
I bet you have.
Crowning crossings are the ones I always get caught out going home.
To be honest, single men driving around in vans have a lot of problems with the police. It all depends where you park, I
Yeah, I'd just like to mention the viewers, this was before I had the van. Moving on. But no, I mean, when I got stopped by the police, the first thing he said to me was, I've just seen you coming down the M6, you were speeding. And I went, for some strange reason, these words just came out of my mouth and I don't know where they came from. I just said, prove it. And I looked at him and I thought, uh-oh. And he says, well, I need your identification. And I said, he said something else about speeding. I said, well, are your eyes calibrated to the cameras? I said, because at the end of the day, you say you can watch us coming down with marker points. I said, but are your eyes got night vision? Because it's night, there's no lights on. So how can you tell our speeding? And he said, we're trained to understand that. I went, okay, have you got evidence for that? These words were just falling out of my mouth because something was
knowledge, isn't it? Fair play.
Yeah, but I never tried it before. And I thought I didn't have the balls to do it. But then he said to me, he said, I need to see your identification, please. So, well, I need to see yours first. And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, you're claiming to be a police officer. I said, so show me your identification. I don't have to show you that.
Well,
I said, well, actually, you do. Otherwise, you are purporting fraud. I said, and I'll have you arrested for that. And I said, so I asked you the second time, show me your ID card, please. And he went, no. All right, so are you now refusing to show me your ID card? And this is the third and final time I'm going to ask you. Power of three, no agreement at the end of that. And he went, no, I'm not showing you. I said, fine. So I'd lock my door, wound my window up a little bit more, and I phoned 999. And I called the police. So I had a police car behind me, blue lights on, a guy standing there claiming to be a police officer who didn't identify himself as a police officer. So the desk sergeant comes down. Now, the sergeants and the inspectors know everything. They know how it all works. And he asked the question, did you show your ID to this gentleman? And he went, no. He said, please carry on your journey, sir. Sorry to interrupt you.
No.
That's it.
High five for that one.
It's not the game, isn't it? It's the game.
Best one is if they pull you over the blue lights and sirens on. I've heard, I haven't found the evidence on this, but I've heard that it's against their regulations because they can only be used in an emergency. Now, I think Jim Davidson challenged this about 5-10 years ago. He was going down the M5 as he was. He wasn't drinking at the time, I don't think, but he was doing about 100 miles an hour, whatever, with a car following close by. Went for about 10-12 miles. Then they put the blue lights on and pulled him over and said, you were speeding. He said, well, so were you. He said, so what makes you give you the right to speed and not me? So he went to court, challenged it in court and got away with it.
Yeah.
Because the police officer should have pulled him over immediately. But he didn't. He followed him for about 10 miles in an unmarked police car, and then put the lights on to pull him over. So that police officer, they're not above the law. No one's above the law. No one. So what makes them so superior to us? It doesn't. They're just men and women in a costume. That's all it is. They have no authority over a living man or woman.
And again, it all comes down to knowledge and confidence to use that knowledge, because otherwise fear, because anyone in a position of or authority, if you like, you are fearful. As soon as you even see a police car on a motorway, you maybe have a little flutter of your stomach. Well, I better make sure I'm 70 mile an hour below or whatever, because you're programmed to have that fear, aren't you?
Yeah. I don't even do that with police when I'm in Tesco. and like there's a big fella and a security guard. I shit myself. I'm like,
I'm not stealing anything. Honestly, I'm not stealing anything.
Yeah, like usually there's a pack of chewing gum in my pocket when I'm nicked. But
pop that out.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, you do though, don't you? Because it's like in your nature to just.
It's
be
in
like,
your nature from birth, from your conditioning, to be scared of authoritative figures in school, your parents, blah 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 blah. You are in fear.
Question everything.
I wonder if my missus is a copper.
You'll have to ask her.
I walk in the house and I shit myself. I think one of them done wrong. Here we go again. I wish she'd handcuff me and pin me down. But anyway, I'm going off. Sorry. What's called? So, this is fascinating stuff, and
it's amazing.
It is.
No, we could go for hours, but
so the thing is as well. So like somehow you're going to have to bring all this expertise and knowledge into whatever else you're doing. Surely you can't just know too much. I mean, you said before that you didn't know how to be a leader, but I mean, come on, with that kind of knowledge.
No,
you're leading, ain't you?
Oh, 100%.
I mean, people are coming towards me. I know, and I said to before, I mean, people are just turning up at events now. They're coming to a talk. They just said, I heard about you. Want to come see what it's all about? The lady yesterday, she said, I was dealing with another group and they were charging me extortionate amounts of money. She said, how much do you charge to help me? I said, nothing. I said, I charge nothing. I said, all I ask is for a kind donation. That's all I ask for. I said, or an energy exchange. She went, hang on, these people are charging me £450, £500 to £1,000 for a document, and you're not going to charge me? I said, no, all my templates are 100% free. You use them, you accept liability for it. If anything goes wrong, we're not taking liability for it because the onus is on you to do your own research. But we give everything away for free. Because people out there are bloody struggling.
Yeah.
And a lot of these groups, and I'm not going to get shot down by a few of these groups that may see this, and I don't care, is you're preying on the vulnerable.
Oh, yeah.
You're preying on people's fear. You're preying on they're scared.
Especially now.
Yeah, they're desperate. How am I going to pay this? How am I going to pay that? Well, give us 250 quid, we'll show you how to do it. For me, that's just a scam. Sorry. Come to us, we will help you. You don't have to pay us anything. I've had yesterday. A guy came up to me yesterday in the workshop. He said, "I haven't paid for today." He said, "But all I've got is £1. Will you accept that?" I said, "Graciously, I'm really grateful for you for offering that."
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And he went, "But I want to give you more." I said, "No, there's no need." I said, you were present for today. That for me is energy exchange enough. And I'm hopefully you're going away with a seed in your head and you're going to grow that seed. So that's all I want.
That knowledge, like what you've just been sharing now, is it possible for someone to come from another angle and say, oh, people have just made that fit, like the story of the Wizard of Oz. Oh, it's a load of bullshit. He's talking out his arse. That's not. But then, could you stand side by side and have that argument with 100%. Anyone?
I have evidence of what I've done, and I have people in the group using the processes. And like I said, I think we had 7 wins over the last couple of days. People are just, won this one. Thanks for the templates. And like I say, I would never lead anyone down the path. If I haven't tested the process myself, I will not give it to anyone. So all my processes are there purely on the basis that people say, have you got a mortgage product? Can you do this? Can you do that? I said, no, I haven't got that. I said, because I haven't got a mortgage, I can't test it.
Yeah.
Can you do this? No, I can't test that. So we're limited to what we do, but we've now got people coming in and we think we've got a mortgage product coming in. We think we've got...
But as your platform grows...
Yeah.
Then you're going to be able to...
Yeah. I mean, when you look at a mortgage you pay 3 times.
Yeah,
because your mortgage contract you sign in the box, that's the promissory note. So that's where they go off and buy and sell that all over the world. Then they give you your repayment plan, so they're asking you to pay it again. And then obviously they put interest on top. So technically you're paying your mortgage 3 times.
Wow.
The minute you sign your mortgage contract, it's paid, it's done. They take the money from the trust, it's paid. Do you ever see when you get, I don't know if you've got a mortgage, do you ever see the money going in your account, coming out your account? No, of course not. It's fraud. Sleight of hand is magic.
Black magic.
It is like magic.
Unbelievable.
It's like words, liability. What's liability you think of? You've got the ability to lie.
I love
Speaking of English, though,
Yes.
English is obviously a very powerful language and it's used in many countries. I learned something the other day that it's actually the language of angels, because it's anglais. It's English.
Anglais, yes. Yeah.
Angels. Yeah. I mean, I can go with that as well, because I think it's just inverted. Yeah. So you can use it in power for good. You can use it for the power of...
I was chatting with a friend of mine, Kevin, in the coffee shop last week, and this guy's, he knows so much. And like you say, he looks at all the inversions in the world at Mountain, and he said, when they do the sign of the cross, he said, that's the wrong way of doing it. I said, why? He said, because you're coming down from the vertical, you're locking yourself into the horizontal.
All right.
He said, realistically, you'll be coming from the horizontal, going back up to the vertical.
Interesting.
I always do that the wrong way around.
And I said to him, that makes sense. That then you think in horror movies, they always show the upside down cross. So what is bad is always good, and what's good is always bad sometimes. But everything. When people want to know about the system, it's in plain sight. Everything's out there. Demolition Man, Divergent, Hunger Games, Matrix.
I'm just watching Deception. Inception. It's a good, Eddie. I'm halfway through, but I had to stop because I was doing something else.
But like I said, they put everything out there as free will for you to accept.
But this takes us into the shit show of 2020 because when they were telling people they must wear masks, it's law. It wasn't law. It was guidelines, and that's the thing. There's always sort of a loophole.
Yeah,
they tell you, don't they?
Well, Black's law is again, must means may. You must close your shop. Well, it means may. You may close your shop. Thank you very much. I don't accept that offer. Thank you very much. Bugger off.
Interesting.
It's literally how everything's always inverted. It's to trick you into believing things. Like you think the word realise, R-E-A-L-I-S-E, is actually spelled R-E-A-L-E-Y-E-S. Real eyes you see with your real eyes. Think of the week. We've got this weekday, haven't we? And then we've got a weekend. Mm-hmm. So weekdays, think of it another way. Weekdays with a Z in it and an A in it. You got weekdays. So those week you're in a daze because you're a bit weak, and then you get weakened at the weekend.
So
the weekend you're now weakened. So that you take away the weekend, you're weakened. And this is how they do it.
I just feel so thick.
But then no. See, this could go on forever and ever. Because then you were talking the other day. I think we were talking about the calendar.
13 months.
13 months. So, but
I do find that interesting.
Well, yeah, because you've got
really
October is 8, really, isn't it?
Oct is 8.
Dec is 10, and that's December's.
April 1st is supposed to be the start of the real year, because everything is spring and everything grows, and you know, and all that. I've heard bits. Like I said, my knowledge is not great, but I do find that really interesting.
Yeah, there should be a month. I don't know the name of the month, but there's several variations on the name of the month they took away between July and August, and the one I resonate with is something called Soul. So basically, where you took the whole month to rest your soul, which they took away from us. So when you think you got, apparently, if you believe in the moon, you got 13 cycles of the moon, you got 13 cycles of a woman, but you've only got 12 months. That doesn't make sense. So if you look at the way, I've been watching Flat Earth Dave, it's another subject, but there's also people like Graham Hancock. He's got a series out called Ancient Apocalypse, and he goes through that on Netflix. Really good series to watch. And like he says, it's all deception. It is all deception. Think of it. If you had 13 months, each of those months would be 28 days with one neutral day, which was basically April the 3rd for the resurrection of Christ. Right. That's basically, but that one day is between 1st and 3rd of April. So the new year actually starts on the 1st of April. So like yesterday, they said, what are you going to do in 2023? So I'll let you know when it starts.
Yeah.
Cool. It doesn't start until April the 1st in my book.
Yeah.
But it's like when I write documentation out to people, I don't put any numbers. Because when you're in English class or whatever, you put little Johnny was 11 with the numbers, my teacher come back and say, what's this? You can't mix maths and English. So I write all my dates out. I write everything out. It's all words. Everything's words. Because I speak English, I don't speak math. So when they send you a document with maths on, and you think of a date, think of it this way, 22/02/2022. What's that?
Well, it's Babel.
Well, it's 22. 22. Think of the slash. It's in mathematics, it's a division symbol.
Division, yeah.
22 divided by 02 divided by 2022. Gives you what?
Yeah.
That's maths. That's not a month. That's not a date. It's our presumption it's a date.
Yeah.
Do you know what? When you're thinking there, and this is probably nothing, this is just my brain. So, like, you're talking about summer being pulled out of the calendar a month, and then you mentioned Saul. Mm-hmm. But there's a story in the Bible, isn't there? Because Saul, he hated the Christians, didn't he? And God basically said to him, you need to lead the Christians back to the Holy Land or wherever it was, right? Which he was pissed off about because he hated them, right? And then, but what happened is, I forget the story, something happened. Anyway, he was leading them back, but they kept fucking moaning. Typical Christians. Fucking moaning, right? Every day's a moan, and then ask on a Sunday for forgiveness. Anyway, so they were moaning, and God decided, I'm sick of this fucking moaning, right? So he killed them all. No, he did. I'm being serious. So, and I wonder if, like, they all got took out, and I wonder if Soul got took out the calendar.
Could be.
I've just made that up off the top of my head, but I just thought it was interesting shit. And I do like to share interesting shit. People do often say, Kev's full of shit.
I'll say that.
At least yours is interesting.
Well, my shit, yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
Andy, I tell you what, though, it's amazing knowledge. I'm fascinated by it all. Yeah, absolutely fascinated by it. The magic, the power of words, the magic that we can actually put out ourselves as individuals by using words as intention and understanding the words that we speak, and the power of I am, and making sure that we actually are bringing that back to ourselves with love and intention.
Yeah. Isn't it great that your business, and you've called it I am as well?
Yeah.
Because them words are so powerful.
Massively powerful. The most powerful two words, aren't they?
It's like I say, I mean, I went through a lot of things and then I realised that is really powerful words, because whatever you put after it can happen.
Yeah, you can either ruin yourself, or you can bring yourself up, can't you? Look in the mirror and say, I am, and then make sure you put the right words on.
All the affirmations start with I am, don't they? I am powerful, I am healthy, I am wealthy.
Yeah.
You know, it is powerful.
Massively powerful.
Unbelievable.
Beautiful.
Anything else you want to share with us, my friend, there?
No, I think doing things at this moment in time. I think
Andy,
leave a little bit for someone for another day.
We'll have to have you back.
Well,
at some point.
Well, I'm going to need you back, because obviously I'm not going to pay any bills now. I'm not. I swear. I'm not paying nothing. And then I'm just going to say, well, I know somebody who can get me out of this. So, yeah.
Where can people find you right now then, Andy? If they want to approach you for guidance and your groups and things like that, how do we do that?
Yeah, I'm going into hiding after this. No, I've got a website. I've got a website at the moment, standinyourpower.org.uk. I can send you the links for it. Obviously, I've got a Telegram group, but we're setting up a brand new website, community website, where people can come and share stuff in there as well. We just want to bring people together. That's what we're trying to do.
Unbelievable. Fantastic.
Love it.
I know Critch will take the time to put everything underneath.
Yeah, 100% in the description.
You know, in the descriptions. We'll put all your links. We want everybody to sort of, basically come your way. And to be fair, wouldn't it be great if everybody donated and just bought your van for you? Do you know what I mean? Hey, that'd be great.
That'd be lovely.
So that'll be a great abundance.
Yeah.
It's been fascinating. I'm just, you know what? One thing this year I was looking at the diary of all the guests we got coming, and like your name stood out because I was like, I can't wait for that. And it blew my mind. It's better than what I could have ever imagined.
Thank you.
And I look forward to seeing you again. I look forward to all these other because every week we're going to have different guests. And today, I know we're talking about words and law this week, and next week we might be talking about whatever, right? Angels or whatever. Yeah. And that's what's amazing, really.
Yeah.
So I hope everybody keeps tuning in, because there's so much more to come.
I think it's amazing what you guys are
Subscribe
doing.
to our YouTube channel, please.
100%.
Subscribe.
And if you've enjoyed everything here over at Drake, Michigan, then come and join us on the community. Have a chat with us.
Well worth it.
It's just so exciting, and I'm so looking forward to it.
Head to our website. Please join our mailing list. It's got some great things coming up. www.drakemichigan.com, and sign on. Get your email on that mailing list, and we've got some amazing things heading your way.
Yeah. And if you need to get out of a car parking ticket, this is your guy.
Go see him.
Oh, this is
Andy,
Thanks.
Andy,
No, you're welcome.
I love you, man.
Thank you very much.
very good. Thanks for coming in, mate.
Pleasure. Absolute pleasure.